What's up, everyone? This is your host, Ghost, coming to you live. Another wonderful video. How's everyone doing today? Do apologize for the delay. I was having some trouble with Rumble Studio. Couldn't quite get it up and running for whatever reason. So that's what was going on. So apologize for that, but it is what it is. What can you do? Do apologize for not doing a video this morning. My lovely wife was exhausted. She was kept up by the kids last night, and asked if I would, take care of the kids while I take care of the kids while she's got a little bit of extra rest. Because we have a newborn, and it's so hot where we live that we have to have our oldest sleeping with us because we don't have AC. And I didn't buy a portable one because I wasn't really expecting this heat wave that we're getting. So the older one has to as I was saying, yeah, I wasn't expecting this giant heat wave that we're having. So we don't have I didn't buy a third portable air AC unit to keep my oldest kid's room cooled enough that she could actually sleep in there without, I don't know, maybe dying because it's so fucking hot. So we got two kids. One of the one newborn, as you may well know, and the others, Anyways, so they both kept her up late last night. So that's the problem. So that's why we were having trouble with the kids. So I had to come down and watch the kids this morning instead of doing my show like I normally do. Oh. One second. I will be right back. Real quick. There you go. I had to grab a monster. Anyways, that's what happened. So, doing a makeup stream now, and we'll do it right now. Doing what we were going to talk about today. So we're going to check out this rage quit of I'm calling her a fake army chick due to the reason why she called her a rage trick. Due to why she rage quit. I have no proof that she is actually a fake army or anything like that. But the way she rage quit made me, the reason for it makes me suspicious that she's not really what she says to me. If you didn't know, this chick is actually clashed with Andrew Wilson on the on Access Hollywood a little while back. So if you recognize her, that's who she is. But yeah, anyways, they have a back and forth. And I haven't watched it. I came in at the tail end, or not the tail end, but after she rage quit, and I wasn't really interested in it. And then I saw Back to the Roots. Their channel decided to do the segment of where what the debate was between the two of them, and then her rage quit. So I figured I'd do it now. So this is actually, I know why she rage quit, but I didn't see the debate. So I only saw that part and decided I wasn't going to go back and go through the whole debate and stuff. And I wasn't going to, but then, the snippet came out and I was like, what the hell now? So this is an hour and 15 minutes. I'm debating whether to do 1.5 or just let it play like normal. Haven't decided yet, but I don't know. Maybe I'll do it 1.5. Then after that, we're going to check out, apparently, Rachel Wilson has another lady that doesn't like her. For some odd reason. So, Rachel Wilson, I covered this. It was during their debate, during her debate with Lily Gladys. Well, not really a debate, but her conversation that had Lily Gladys and Tim Pool. apparently she was referring to some chick on the internet. I guess she's like a producer or something. She's connected to the Tim Pool show. It's the redheaded libertarian. So apparently there's been, it's been clipped and she hasn't responded. What she doesn't understand is, it was just a bunch of clips that were mashed together, and Rachel was, according to Rachel, she wasn't really talking about her. But we'll see. But we'll look at, the clip and then her response. I haven't seen that either. And then last but certainly not least, a city council in Finland is solely responsible for preventing migrant men from assaulting women. How, you may wonder? Well, you're just gonna have to watch and see. You'll be amazed how they managed to do this. Anyways, before I get anywhere, let's do a little house cleaning. First off, follow me on X at officialwghost. That's the best way to find out when I go live, and you could also watch me live if you choose to. Yes, you can. Rumble.com/withghost. It's the Rumble channel. Rumble is the best channel in the world. It's only going to get better as they continue to do better with their software and their app and everything like this. Stock is $5 currently, so get in when the good is good, because I predict in the next couple of years Rumble stock is going to go up because more and more people are going to float towards it as they continue to be a bastion of free speech. And then YouTube. Follow me on YouTube if you like, but make sure you follow me on Rumble regardless of where you're watching. YouTube.com/@withghost. And then twitch.tv/officialwithghost. Unfortunately, we are not streaming on Twitch because for some reason, Twitch and Rumble Studio decided we're not going to connect with each other. So I'm not going to be streaming on Twitch today. Not a big deal. Life goes on and on and on. But yeah, that's all I got. Let's see. I think that's all I got. So let's get into it. And let's find out what this debate was. Like the core, what the core, what's the word I'm looking for? The core issues, I guess, she had with age gap relationships. Because her problem is men. She calls men pedos because they date 20-year-olds. That is the core of her issue, I guess. All right, so let's check this out.
Of him, right?
Okay.
Yep. And then likewise, he's going for the really young, vulnerable, easy, like docile personality with a lot of life to go still. Like that's equal. Yeah.
What do you mean by vulnerable?
When you're young, when you're a teenager, when you're in your early 20s, this is both for men and women. You're a sponge, and that's a vulnerable place to be where you're not operating from an educated, experienced position. They're vulnerable in terms of they're easily swayed, they're easily suggestible. So that's what I mean by vulnerable. Like they're.
So then we shouldn't let them vote, right? This is probably what Andrew's going to ask at some point. It says general question. Whenever someone has an issue with age gap relationships and they list their problems with it, which is always, they're easily manipulated, they're vulnerable, blah, you can, men just prey on them, blah, blah. So the question is going to be, all right, well, then should they vote? And they'll be like, oh, yeah, well, it's two separate things. Well, if you're easily manipulated in a relationship, why wouldn't you also be easily manipulated to vote? So, like it like their logic here makes nothing. It really based down to, and I'm sure she's going to end up saying it. It really based down to it. She just finds it yucky. Okay, that's what I'm sure Andrew's going to get her to basically say, because that's how it always goes with these women that hate age gap relationships. I find it yucky.
They're a sponge.
So I mean, they definitely shouldn't be joining the military at that age.
I mean, I joined at 17, but that's
I know, but you definitely shouldn't have, because you're a sponge and you're easily suggestible.
Andrew,
and you don't have any autonomy. And you're just kind of.
See, every single time it's completely different. Why? Why is it complete? Look, if they're they're a sponge, too easily manipulated and everything, then why should we let them join the military? Why should we let them vote? Like, I don't understand this logic these women have. Well, it's because it's not really born from logic. It's because they find it yucky. Um, but it's the thing is like, why does it just stop at relationship? Why are they too dumb and too inexperienced to be fine with a relationship, to not be okay with a relationship, but everything else that's probably far more important to us personally as a society, it's okay for them to do. Doesn't make any sense.
You're just kind of a fool, right?
No,
You-
that's
you must
completely
be.
different. You're someone going in
Well,
the
that's
military.
completely, why is it completely different?
Oh, I'll tell you. So when
Okay.
you go into the military, like I did at 17, you're going into a safe. When I mean safe, I mean it's structured. There's laws and rules and regulations in place.
There's that in every place. What are you talking about?
There's
Because there's not laws and rules and regulations in place for, relationships and for marriage, even though there is, right? Like you can't just randomly essay women, right? Even if you're in a relationship, there's still laws in place, even if you're not in the military, right?
I don't know why you're getting so heated, Andrew.
Oh, see, look at that. So, you're getting so heated. He's not getting heated at all, lady. He's just showing the flaw in your logic. Your logic is very flawed, and he's showing you that. And so, because you don't have an actual rebuttal for him, because you realize how much of a dumb position you have, you just try to go, "Oh, you're so emotional." What was anything he said was emotional and heated?
Well, I want an answer to the question.
There's the
I
tone
wanna
policing
know-
already.
I wanna
Just
know
engage.
Yeah,
why
tone policing. That's what it is. Oh, tone policing. You didn't say it in a nice way, so therefore you must be emotional.
you think. I want to know why you think it's okay to be, when you say sponge, right? Oh, they're just a sponge. They have so much life left to live, girl.
I
right?
guess I'm just like, what is your point?
Hang
Like,
on, let me finish,
yeah,
and then I'll
what's your
turn it over
point?
to you. Okay, hang on, let me finish. You say, oh, they're a sponge. They're just absorbed. They're easily influenced, right? And totally suggestible. These are your words.
Correct.
But of course, they should be joining the military because they're easily suggestible. They're like sponges. They could be easily influenced into doing things they ordinarily wouldn't do. The SA rate for women in the military is sky high. Seems like it's a little bit of a contradiction there, right?
No, I disagree because they're two completely separate topics. Completely separate topics.
It's not really. Like they always try, they always try to like, oh, it's completely separate. It's not the same. But when you break it down, it really is the same thing. Joining the military is the same thing as getting into a relationship. The difference between the two really is, in a relationship, you can leave whenever you want to. In the military, you can't. Okay? It's the biggest real difference between the two. All right? But if you boil it down, the issues that you have with a woman going into a relationship with an older man, it should be the same issues you have when they're joined to the military. The same things you lined out would be a problem for them if they joined the military as well.
The question was, do I think that that massive of an age gap is an issue? And my answer, in my opinion, is yes. I think it's an issue. I think like 10 years is appropriate as a max. But like once you start getting into like the 20s, et cetera, I think it's completely disproportionate. There are different areas of their lives. And that's my opinion.
Michael, your commanding officer, for instance, who's probably going to be much older than you are, right?
That's so different, Andrew. Like one is a teacher.
Why is it different? You're suggestible, which means you can't make good decisions because you're a sponge. You're always absorbing the things that are around you. This is your logic, the entailment of your logic.
We can give each other the space to talk, but you can't.
See, every single time, like it's the same thing they had with Access. Is she wants to like, oh, well, you need to give me the space to talk. I gotta talk, and like just shut up and make a good point. If you make a good point, okay. But here's the thing: the reason Andrew cuts you off is because you end up prattling, making no fucking point at all. So he's got to cut you off so we can actually, have a conversation. But she's like, no, you need to follow my rules when we talk. He's like, no.
No, you cut me off first.
Let you go.
You cut me off first.
Let you go.
You cut me off first.
You were done
I was in
talking.
the middle of giving my answer, and you cut me off first.
Hey, I'm done talking, and now you can't talk.
Andrew, we've done this before together. I will, but once I finish my point.
Stop talking. Let me finish.
Andrew, I'm not going to take that from you or anybody.
I'm not going to take. I'll get up and leave right now, right this second.
I'm not going to do this with you, Andrew.
Are you going to have a discourse like adults, or what? You can't finish talking, and then when I start talking,
I just have to come in and pick one of you to finish your things. Andrew gets to finish. Go ahead, Andrew.
Okay, so anyway, your line of logic.
Every time when she ends up losing, she's like, "Oh, I don't like your tone. You're not having an adult conversation." Blah 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 blah. Because she doesn't have any fucking points.
Would still apply to other situations. If women are easily suggestible, they're just young sponges, they're just absorbing the things around them, you say these are two different situations, as though I'm talking about them like they're the same situation. The logical entailment, though, would apply in both. That's the point.
Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, I didn't specify women. I said young people, both men and women, when they're in their early 20s, are very suggestible, impressionable. They're sponges. That's what I said. So I wasn't specifically talking about women. We were not talking about the military. And the difference that I was trying to articulate was that if there's a 20-year age gap between myself, as an example, and a staff sergeant that's in charge of my platoon, his job is to train me, is to educate me,
And essentially, if you're in a 20-year age gap, the older person's job is to train you, is to teach you, is to mentor you. Okay? That's gonna be an essential part. If you're gonna have an actual relationship, if you're just fucking, then obviously you're not gonna need any of that. But if you're actually gonna have an actual relationship, the same logic applies. They're there to train you, they're there to teach you, they're gonna train you to be their type of person. Okay. And obviously you are willingly accepting the training because you're there. They're gonna mentor you, they're gonna give you their knowledge, everything like that. Everything she's saying is going to happen in a relationship if they're looking for an actual relationship and not just fucking.
Is to lead me, is to build me into being a soldier. That is.
And an older, and we'll just say guy, because look, they don't have a problem when it's an older woman. They only have a problem when it's an older guy. Regardless of what they say, they only have a problem when it's an older guy. And what'd she say? Hold on.
Not to educate me, is to lead me, is to build me into being a soldier.
Okay. And so the guy's job is to build you into his wife. Okay. That's what they generally do with an age gap relationship, is they're building into their wife, the woman they want. That's why they go for younger women, because they can train you, build you into the wife for them. Okay. And generally, it's going to be for the better if they're looking for actually a woman to share a life with. Okay.
That is not the dynamic of the particular male that we're talking about. Toby Maguire's job is not to teach a 20-year-old how to.
Why not? He's 40 years old. He's got a lot more experience than them. Of course, his job is to teach them better, teach them
to be an adult and a woman and to know.
So an older man can't, teach his younger significant other to be an adult and, to guide them. Like, you can't do that.
Her rights and to know her boundaries and her limits and what she likes and doesn't like. That's not Toby's job.
That's not a staff sergeant's job either, to teach you how to be a woman.
They're two completely different topics.
That's your logic. It's your logical application. Staff sergeant's job not to teach you how to be a woman either. Okay, when you're talking about a power imbalance, if you're saying that people are so young and impressionable they can't make the decision of who they date based on an age gap, which is absurd, this logic should still apply to the situations that they can engage in, which is contractual. For instance, signing a 4-year contract for your life, right, that you then hand over to the government. If you're incapable of determining who you can or can't date, why in the world would I think that you could determine whether or not you signed your life over to the U.S. government?
So hold on, again, two completely different topics.
See, she keeps trying to like mitigate it because she understands her logic is so flawed. Okay. She's like, oh, it's two separate things. Andrew agrees they're two separate things. What he's talking about is the logical entailment. If these people are too young, too much of a sponge, basically incompetent, that they can't choose who to date properly, why should we be okay with them signing their life away to a government that definitely doesn't give a fuck about them? Like, seriously, like at least a guy, there's a good chance the guy's going to give more fucks about a 20-year-old woman than the government's going to give a fuck about a 20-year-old woman. All right. So like the logic, what Andrew's pointing out and what she's missing, because she's fucking dumb, is the logical entailment, which he's already mentioned. Okay. It's not the same thing, obviously, but the logic applies the same way. That's what he's saying.
I did not say a staff sergeant was going to teach me how to be a woman. A staff sergeant would be teaching me how to be a soldier, just to clarify.
That's right.
And in terms of the topic of, them joining the military, et cetera, again, we're not talking about that. We're talking about whether I personally, the question was whether I personally.
Look, okay, I just want to say this. Even if you have, it's just your personal opinion, you got to be able to back that up with some sort of logic. And here's the thing, like, there's the problem with these women and stuff. Is they're never really challenged on their logic because they're pretty. Okay. They're never really challenged on their logic. But when you do challenge them on their logic, they can't handle it because they realize what they their personal opinions are pretty much fucking useless, because most of the time when you challenge their logic on it and you give them the same example, it's just skewed up, like this example with the military and stuff.
Find issue with a 20-year plus age gap. I personally find an issue with it. I don't think it should be illegal. Should the woman be able to decide to do that, or a man could be reversed? Absolutely, it's their choice. It's their business. I'm just saying the question was, do I have an issue with it? And I'm saying I have an issue with it.
So then here's what I'm doing. What I'm doing, right, and I'm going to use my best HR tone. What I'm doing is I'm taking your applied logic that you apply in this situation and also equally applying it to other situations to see if it's consistent. It's called an analogy, right? So in this analogy, if you have a personal problem with age gap relationships based on the fact that there's power dynamics and that the woman can be super suggestible to this 49-year-old who's super powerful and these all-powerful Za, okay, then this would still apply to the fact that if she made other contracts or other, life choices, why is it that she's capable of those? You have no problem, but you have a problem in the instance of her picking her partner.
Again, these are two completely different scenarios with two.
You can keep saying that like we don't know that.
Listen, Andrew, we just disagree. So I think we should move on because we definitely disagree on this.
That's the argument.
I'm not going to keep arguing with you. I'm not going to. So we disagree. That's my opinion. I don't need you to agree with it. I don't need you to find logic in it. That's just my opinion. So I'm ready to move on.
Yeah.
She understands she's lost. Okay. She realized she's lost. That's why she's trying to go like, well, we can just move on. And so she can chalk it up in her head like she won it by like, oh, we moved on. So he didn't really get me to admit anything. But Andrew's not going to let that happen, clearly.
Yeah, but I'm not really ready to move on. I'd really like you to answer to this because I don't understand.
But you're going to be all by yourself.
Good for you.
Yeah, you tell that mean guy who wants logical consistency.
No, I love you, Andrew.
I don't think he's mean. I just think it's two completely different scenarios. It's not even the same thing.
It's not that smart.
Yes, are apples the same as oranges?
I'm moving on, Andrew.
Are apples the same as oranges? Can you answer any basic questions?
She's looking for a way out.
Is up the opposite of down? No, just nothing. We're just not going to answer any questions at all. What we'll do is we'll just take positions that never defend them. I'm not going to do that.
I'm not here to debate you, Andrew. We've been through this before.
What are you here to do?
I'm here for the dating conversation. I'm not here for you.
This is a conversation about dating. We're talking about specifically a person who's dating someone who's far older, and I'm testing the logical consistency of your position.
But I don't need you to decide whether my logic about whether I think a 20-year age gap is appropriate or not. I don't need your approval on that.
I didn't say you needed my approval.
So then
we're having a conversation.
I don't care if you approve or not. When you're just like going to disrespect. Like I don't need that.
How's that disrespectful?
Andrew, I'm not going to do this.
See, all she's doing is just throwing out buzzwords. She's losing. She understands she's losing. So she's throwing out the buzz terms. It's disrespectful. You're being mean, rude. And that, I just don't believe this chick was actually in the military now. Okay, when she first said, I was like, all right, cool, whatever. She said she was in air assault school or some shit like that. She did a bunch of shit. I was like, all right, maybe. I don't care. But now I'm thinking maybe it's not true. Maybe she's just full of shit. Or maybe she was just a pogue and just sat in an office and did do shit.
You're going to use the HR thing. Is it the wrong tone? Is it the HR tone? Are you going to give me the HR tone speech? Don't do the HR tone speech.
No, I'm not entertaining this, Andrew. I'm not today.
Not today.
Not today.
Okay. I mean, if you don't want to engage, you don't have to engage.
Yeah.
But it's just,
I'm in my healed girl era, Andrew.
I'm in my healed girl era.
I'm not going to argue with you today. We're going to be friends again after this.
Well, I don't take any of it personally. I don't understand why you take a position and then won't defend it.
Because I'm going to tell you why, if you generally care to know. Because we're talking about.
Okay. She's going to lie. All right. Here's why. Okay. She knows she can't defend it. All right. She's probably heard Andrew make this argument before. She's probably seen it and everything. And she understands she can't actually make a logical conclusion for this. So instead of looking dumb and admitting, hey, I can't make it a logical conclusion for this, I'm just going to pretend that, I have some arbitrary reason why I don't want to engage in this because I know I'm going to fucking lose. All it is I know I'm going to lose. So therefore, X.
My opinion on whether a 20-year age gap is appropriate or not, I said no, right? I don't think it's appropriate. And you tried to bring in logic about someone joining the military, which is a completely different, like not even in the same universe topic wise.
Okay, so do you realize that if you bring up a hypothetical, for instance, that it's not going to map on to reality or the situation exactly, but you can still test the logic of a person to see if they're consistent. Hang on. Let you finish.
Go ahead.
So all I'm trying to
I do like the fact that Andrew likes to flip it on these chicks who always like, don't interrupt me. That's rude. And then they try to interrupt him all the time. He's like, hang on. I'm not done yet.
do is this. I get that you have a problem with an age gap, right? What I'm trying to determine is why. And if you have that problem, in this instance, I would assume that in an instance which was similar, where these same traits are applied, you'd have the same problem. Makes sense to me.
So where, again, I'll just recap it one more time for you why it's
See, like she just keeps dodging it. All right. We all understand it's different military. But the logical entailment is, and in all honesty, it's a lot more similar than she thinks. But all he's saying is it's not going to be 1-to-1, but it's going to be close. Okay. It's going to be the same logic that's applied here. If your logic is here, then the logic should also be here. So you should have, if you have an issue with this, you should have an issue with this. That's all this is. But she's like, oh, it's just completely different, guy. And I was like, we understand it's completely different. We're not talking about that.
Totally different. Why the logic cannot be applied to the same scenario.
Okay.
Because I'm talking about a young girl or boy, it doesn't matter what gender.
Oh, shut up. She only has a problem with girls. She doesn't give two shits about the guys. Let's be honest.
Going into a scenario where they don't even know they're left from right, they're up from down, they're brand new into being out of high school, they're just entering the world, etc. For a 49-year-old man or woman to come and pluck one of those two people up, you would. My first question is, why do you have an interest in someone that young? Like where is that coming from?
Because they want to bang them. They think they're hot.
And
what do you mean?
And if it's consensual, have fun, right? But I'm just saying, I personally find that disturbing. I don't think that's appropriate. Now, you want to
why? What's inappropriate about it?
Why is it disturbing?
Because I think the 49-year-old, like if you guys are just trying to hook up, go for it, have fun, whatever. But
hold on. So hold on. So if they're just trying to fuck, all good, no big deal. But if they're trying to have an actual genuine relationship, okay, that's wrong. They can bang all they want, but if they want to have an actually genuine relationship, that's fucked up. What the hell is this?
I think once you start, like in this scenario, because the question, going back to what the actual question was, which is, do I think Tobey Maguire and this 21-year-old girl, what's my opinion on that? I'm telling you, I have an opinion of that that isn't agreeing with that dynamic, because that person is now in the limelight. They're surrounded by
that wasn't her issue before. It was because it's a 20-year age gap.
Environment where there's a lot of pressure. There's all of these different scenarios that they're going to be faced with, and they're so young. They don't even understand what that means. Now they're going to be painted as, dating someone who could be their father, in the news. Like they don't have I could just keep going. Like I have a problem with it.
So then the same logic would apply the other way.
No, it's completely different.
Yeah, hang on. Is my turn?
Okay, go ahead. I think we need a safe word, Andrew.
So I could swear that the logic would apply the exact same here. They're young and impressionable. They don't know, as you say, their left from their right? They're just plucked up. They're offered a bunch of incentives to do X thing, right? All of these things are true. Why is it that this woman, in this case, not even a hypothetical woman, why is it that they're incapable of judging whether or not they can date somebody with a significant age gap, but somehow are capable of deciding whether or not, hang on, let me finish. But somehow they're capable of deciding whether or not they could sign a contract for 4 years of their life, entering into a situation they also have zero experience in.
Completely different. First of all, I did not say, you're adding in things I didn't say. So I did not say they're incapable of deciding whether they want to be in the relationship. I already said actually very clearly, more power to them. The question was if I have an opinion on it, and I do. I think it's bad. And
but
I don't like it.
You have an opinion which is informed by a worldview.
I'm speaking from experience.
A worldview.
Okay, you got to let me finish now. Remember, we're doing this whole sharing thing. We're doing this whole sharing thing.
I'm just clarifying, so that you know. You're speaking from a worldview, and I'm trying to investigate the worldview.
Sure. So I'm speaking from experience. because I was once a young 20-year-old girl 15 years ago that was in a situation.
Hey, you guys can't be doing sidebar conversations when somebody else is talking. Go ahead.
That was in a situation with someone significantly older than me, and it was not a good situation for multiple reasons. There is a power dynamic difference. I was uneducated, about the person. I didn't even know what to ask. I didn't know what screening questions to ask. It was an inappropriate, horrible situation, and it was a very toxic relationship. And now, really quickly to address why I think it's so important that we separate these topics is the military is an educational system. It is a career. It is guided by instruction and education.
The same logic can be it's the same for both. The same logic can be applied to both. Okay, what she said about her terrible 20-year age gap relationship can apply to the military. What she's talking good about the military can apply to a relationship. It's the same thing logically.
And purpose and mission and all of these things. It has nothing to do with that person on the romantic level. There's a difference between the military putting you in boots and someone trying to fuck you. There's a big difference.
Because the last time I checked, the power imbalance which exists inside of the military is such that the SA rates for women are sky high due to this power imbalance, usually from male officers who have a significant age gap. Far more likely to be SA'd in that than you are in an age gap relationship.
I don't agree with that.
Since you're drawing, how can you disagree?
One, because I'm a woman in the military.
Would you like the stats?
Well, first of all, I want to know where you got the stats, because a lot of people throw out stats and they're not even verified stats. Second, I've been in the military. Second, I've been through an SA case, et cetera. So I know a lot about SA in the military.
No, she doesn't. She hasn't. Bullshit. You haven't been through an SA case. You're just using it to win an argument at this point. All right. If a woman brings out, I've been through X, 99% of the time, she's fucking lying. All right. So at this point, show me the police report.
Military, and I promise you it's a very small number. It's a very small number of the military. And now in terms of like,
hang on.
No, I'm not done. And in terms of if we're comparing, I'm not done. If we're comparing rates of people who get SA'd outside of the military, it's a much higher number. So I want to be really careful that we're not conflating the rates of SA between the military and the civilian community, because they're not even close.
I was going to clarify it, and I'll clarify it right now. We're comparing the rates of SA in an age gap relationship versus the rates of SA if you're inside of the U.S. military as a female. We're comparing those two. Those are analogous, right? So now we have, yes, because they apply to your power imbalance. Your whole argument is about a power imbalance.
First of all, I don't have an argument.
So if you're a woman who can sign on to a...
You don't have an argument. You have a problem, but you can't substantiate this with an argument.
Power imbalance in the military, and you're actually more likely to be SA'd going into the military than you are to be in an age gap relationship, which is true, then I don't understand the argument of the power imbalance. That's what I don't get.
So, okay, first of all, I don't have an argument. This is just my opinion, just to be clear. Okay. I'm going to go back to that. The question was, do I agree or disagree with it? I don't agree with it. I don't need to prove my point to you, and I would really love to move on.
Well, I have a couple questions. So I guess perhaps what Andrew's trying to get at. So your issue with age gap relationship is the potential for harm. Is that one of the issues? Right? There's a potential for harm to the woman.
To me, I think there's a lot of successful relationships with that big of an age gap. So it's not that. I'm not looking at.
Now she just defeated her whole argument. So she's just admitted that there's probably a lot of successful relationships that have age gap relation. She doesn't have it.
Why else would you? I mean, if there's no potential for harm.
Ooh, you okay? Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Why else, I guess, object to it if there's no potential for harm? Your grievance with it seems to be the potential for harm to the woman.
No, I just think that I'm more focused on the older person's reasoning for why they're seeking someone so significantly much younger. So make an argument
for why a man who's 40 ought to date a 30-year-old compared to a 20-year-old. What's in it for him?
They're much closer in age. So 10 years is appropriate to me. I would say that's the max.
No. Make a compelling argument in terms of the benefits then to the man. If your issue isn't so much
She doesn't give a fuck about the man. What are you talking about, Brian?
harm to the woman, make an argument as to why men ought to date
Sure.
a 35-year-old over a 25-year-old.
Okay. So one, the woman, like if the end goal is that they're looking for successful long-term marriage, relationship, family, kids, whatever, you would prefer to date a 35-year-old over a 25-year-old because the 35-year-old has a lot more life experience. They're
More
very
bodies.
That's not what I mean at all.
But well, when you say more life,
Look, here's the problem, and I think that the guys that do this, like Brian and all that, they have a very poor way of actually explaining this. But whenever you say they have more life experience, the man, all right, this is the man. This is what the man thinks. Okay, then they always go like, well, that's what I'm talking about. It's all right, fine, whatever the fuck you're talking about. But here's what the man thinks. When he hears life experience, he got fucked more. Okay, that's what we think. Okay, that's how we think. It doesn't matter if we're right or wrong. That's going to guide our decision making. All right, when you say I've had a lot more life experience, that means to us you've been fucked more. Okay, and I think the problem with some of these conversations is it's never really framed in this is what men think. Okay, this is what when you say this is how it comes into men's heads. All right, so life experience, you've been fucked a bunch. That's what men think, and that's what's going to guide men's decisions.
experience more trauma, more
No,
baggage,
that's not what I mean at all.
more sexual.
It doesn't
partner.
matter what you mean. It matters what the men think that are going into this. Okay.
So now you're adding in things I didn't say, Brian.
Life experience.
No,
you
that's
mean
not what I
relation?
said.
You mean
That's not what I said.
right? But I mean,
No, you're adding in things I did not say.
right. But so okay. Go ahead. Continue with your point.
Yeah. So I'm talking about life experience as in contrast, is in what they want and what they don't want. And I'm talking about jobs, career.
Here's the thing. Everything she's listing, and I'm sure everything she's going to list, doesn't really fucking matter to the men. Like, we don't care about any of this stuff. Okay. Jobs, careers, don't care. So everything she's going to list is something beneficial to the woman, not the man.
Where they want to live,
Okay, career.
who they want to hang out with, who they want to
care.
associate with, their ideology, their religion,
Okay.
whether they're
care.
spiritual or not. Like there's a
care.
lot of contrasting
Yeah.
moments,
Yeah.
and which
None of that
I'm not
benefits the
at
men.
all talking about anything to do with relationships. I'm specifically talking about maturity in life. Maybe they've gone to college. Like there's
Don't
a lot
care.
of different things that will help
Mhm.
shape the woman and the person.
Now, I just want to point this out is Brian specifically asked her stuff that would benefit the men. Okay. Why would dating a 35-year-old benefit the man? Everything she just listed out is what benefits the woman, not the man.
Person that they're going to become.
Okay, so there's a couple things here. So you mentioned life experience. Do you think a woman's life experience is high on the totem pole in terms of what men find attractive or care about?
To be honest, high quality men would care about that.
No. See, this is just all that was a shaming tactic. All right. High quality men care about it. Guess what? The high quality men she's talking about, they don't give a fuck about that. All right. The men that actually give a fuck about any of that shit are losers, and they're losers. That's the problem. So no, it's just a shaming tactic. A high quality man would care about it. No, he wouldn't. Okay. If by high quality we're talking about a man that women are actually attracted to, yeah, he doesn't give a shit about any of that.
Your life experience.
Yeah. High quality men would care about that.
So does that include both positive life experiences and negative life experiences?
For some people, I think conversations that I've had with extremely high quality men, I think they would care if you've had some contrast.
Also, these high quality men, if she's talking about the men that women are actually attracted to, here's the thing, lady, they're just fucking lying to you. Like, I don't understand how women don't understand that men just are fucking lying to you and telling you the things you want to hear just to get in your pants. That's all they're doing.
In your life, so you can learn
yeah.
and grow and yeah.
And how did you come to the conclusion that high quality men care about females' life experiences? Like how did you come to that conclusion? They told you?
I've had a lot of extremely intelligent conversations with a lot of extremely intelligent men, very high level men, and they absolutely, if they're appropriate and they have good intent to be married, to have a wife, to have a family, to have children, etc., those are the things they care about.
A woman's life experiences is high on the totem pole.
I can tell based on your line of questioning that you're trying to make a point. So just make the point.
No, but I mean, again, I'm asking you, do you think that a woman's life experiences are high on the totem pole in terms of what men find attractive or what they value in a partner?
So besides physical attraction, which I think is the baseline, I think physical attraction is absolutely the baseline, right?
Okay, is a 25-year-old woman more physically attractive at 25 or at 35?
Sometimes 25, sometimes not. If they
It's always 25. All right. Unless there's a bunch of surgery that happens in 10 years, it's always 25. They're always hotter at 25. If they're ugly at 25, they're uglier at 35. Just how the life works.
if they've had some work done, they're probably a little bit
Do
better.
you think you're 34, correct?
I'm 34.
Do you think you're more
I think
physically
I'm-
attractive now
Yes.
at 34 than you were at 24?
Yes.
Such a fucking
I do.
liar.
Okay.
She's such a fucking liar. No. She's done some work and thinks she's attractive. But look, the attraction that you see in yourself, ladies, is not that important. It's the attraction that men see in you, because men are the judges of female beauty. All right. Men give a fuck about female beauty. Women don't. For the most part. All right. They care about the heartstrings, all that crap. Men are judging of female beauty. And it's already been proven. Men find women that are younger far more attractive. All right. So guess what? You were far more attractive 10 years ago than you are today. Sorry.
Really?
We had this conversation before. You haven't seen me at 24. You don't know what I look like at 24.
Bring up a picture then. Let's see a picture, unfiltered, of you at 24. I guarantee you're far more attractive than you are now.
Well, I just know like sort of about aging.
Sure. But
the impact it has on your skin.
yeah, well, I mean, we're not.
the one point
Your question was not about
clarification,
me, my physical body. But go ahead.
Just one quick point of clarification. I was kind of going through. I always take notes when people are speaking, right? Because I have a bad memory. But you did say that you didn't have any problem if they hooked up. You only had a problem if they were in a long-term relationship.
Yeah,
that was really weird. I don't understand that either.
Yes,
Sure.
I was going to bring that up.
I'm happy to walk through this. And again, guys, this is just my personal opinion. I find it.
Oh my fucking God. We understand your personal opinion. We're just testing the logic and trying to understand it. We don't need you to reiterate. What you're doing now, what she's doing now is trying to buy her time because she realized she made a stupid fucking comment and now she's got to justify it.
A little icky when there's an older man dating a super young woman. It seems a little weird.
Does it give you the? It gives you the ick.
It does. Yes, it gives me the ick.
It says give you that ick.
It gives me the ick, Andrew.
It gives you the ick.
It
Okay.
does. It gives me the ick. This is just my personal opinion. Like,
So fucking doesn't get. This is the problem with our society. This lady has an issue with a guy fucking with a guy seriously dating a woman that's 20 years younger than him. But if they fuck, it's all good. Like I don't understand this logic is just ridiculous.
like I said,
So it's fine if they have casual sex and never talk again.
listen. I
That's
said
not
my
good.
personal opinion. This is just my personal opinion. If they're just hooking up, that's their right as consenting adults. Where I get concerned.
So it's their right as consenting adults to hook up, to fuck, okay, to potentially conceive a child, okay. It's their right to do that. But they're not consenting adults when they're trying to like have an actual relationship.
Is when the older man is trying to like look at this person as like their wife, and this poor girl who's like 21 years old has not even experienced any life in any way, shape, or form. That's just not going to work out well. That's just my opinion.
Wait, hold on. So just to be clear,
Guys, I really
hold
want
on,
to
hold
move
on.
on.
Okay, you said the thing, so I got to respond.
Sure.
So okay, just to be clear, less predatory, less bad if the guy fucks her and never talks to her again versus
I didn't say that.
You said if they're just hooking up and that's it.
I didn't.
But when the guy wants something a bit more serious, that's where you have a bit more of an issue.
I think that them trying to date long term and like her become a wife at 21 years old to somebody who is double or triple her age is
Good
creepy.
catch, unconventional man.
I
He
think
was
it's
the one
creepy.
who caught that. He said,
No,
hey,
I heard it.
Did you notice that? And I was like, man, that's a great catch.
So
I
okay,
couldn't believe it.
you're fine with
Yeah,
short term.
right. This is my personal opinion. I don't need to convince you guys.
Position?
I don't need to convince.
If you're trying to voice your personal opinion, okay, you're gonna have to convince us that your logic is at least somewhat sound. Okay. If it's not sound, we're gonna question it.
You guys, this is just my personal opinion. I think it's icky. I don't even. I'm not even mad at her. I'm just like, dude, what are you doing? Like, go in your own age range. Like, get a
Why?
little closer. Like, what are you doing? It gives me the ick.
Okay, but so going back to the
So
question,
there we go. That's all it is. That's all her issue is it gives her the ick. That's all her issue really is. All the crap she just spewed, it's not the reason. It's because icky.
In hand. So you said that you're kind of fine with it if it's just casual with the age gap. So if it's short term,
it's
you're
their
fine.
business. They're consenting adults. I just find it creepy when now you're like at a
But why isn't it their business? They're adults when they're dating.
restaurant and you look next to you and this guy's gray haired and like could be her grandfather and she looks like she just got out of high school. That's weird. I
Okay.
find it really inappropriate.
But so just, I'll ask the question again.
Yeah.
You're okay if they hook up 1, 2, or 3 times and then that's the extent of it, but you're not okay if the man is
I'm
desirous
not
of a
okay
long
with
term.
that at all on a personal level,
But
but
you-
it's
that's what
but
you-
I'm
What,
saying
you
it's
just
their
said that-
business. I'm saying it's their business.
Then
I
why
don't need
isn't
you
their
to
business
So isn't it,
understand this.
isn't
I
it
don't
also
need-
their business
I'm not
if
trying
it's
to
a long
convince
term?
you. I'm not trying to convince you.
That's cool.
I'm just ready to.
But I'm asking for clarification.
Sure.
Yeah, okay. So you're fine with it or more fine with it if it's short term, but if the guy's desirous of long term, that's your
I'm
you
saying
have
it's
more
none
of
of
an
my
issue.
business, but you know, like if they're having
So wouldn't
sex,
it be
they're
none of your
consenting.
business? Wouldn't that be none of your business if it's a long term?
You asked me my opinion on seeing the news of Tobey Maguire dating someone double his age. I said I don't like it.
Right, but you made a statement.
Yeah, but here's the thing. They didn't ask you a question about hooking up. They asked about a long-term relationship. They're asked about relationship, not hooking up. You offered this whole, caveat of if they're just hooking up, it's all good. That's what's going on here. Is you offered that. We didn't ask you about that. They didn't ask you about that. They didn't care about that. They were talking about long-term relationship. And you offered that caveat, and so now they're trying to understand what the fuck your logic is.
I'll repeat myself one more time.
Sure.
You made a statement where you said you don't really care or you don't mind if it's just kind of casual. They're just hooking up. Do you recall saying that?
I do.
Okay.
And I did.
So then that would seem to imply that you do have an issue then if it's more long term, if the older man's desirous of having a long-term relationship
Yeah.
with her. Whereas if he's just like, sees her at the club, wants to
Yeah.
fuck, then that's cool.
And she's a consenting adult, etc. But where it gets weird for me is like, and this is for all young men and women, they're going to go
He doesn't
through
give a
a few
fuck about the
bodies
men.
as they're exploring. A lot of people in general, right? Not everyone. Some people don't, but like I think that's
More
normal.
baggage.
That's normal. That's normal. Happens for guys
More
and
baggage.
girls.
So then Brian's
Sure.
right. It's more life experience means more body count.
But if you're asking me specifically in that scenario, but I'm just saying I don't think that guy should be like getting married to someone who's triple younger
What if they
than
did
him.
for 5 years and now she's 20, now she's 25?
Yeah,
Too young for Leo.
I'm just done, Brian. I'm done with this topic.
Too old.
You
Sorry,
asked me my
too
opinion.
old.
I don't like it.
My
I don't.
bad.
This is the problem with whatever, and I've said this multiple times. All right, you don't get to just dictate the topic. If you don't like the topic, fucking leave. I hate these fucking broads. Okay, this is a type of bitch who's never been told no, never been disciplined at all. Really. Okay, I'm getting highly suspicious that she was ever in the military at this point. And it's like, hey, guess what? You don't get to dictate. If he wants to beat this like a dead fucking horse, he will. It's his show. He can do that. If you don't like it, leave.
I don't need you.
Yeah, but you said another thing, and now I'm trying to
Okay.
get to the bottom
Brian,
of the thing that you
I
said.
literally, you asked me my opinion. I
Yes,
gave you
but I'm
my
asking-
opinion. I don't
Yeah,
like
you
it.
gave it.
Well,
I
But
don't
now I'm
need you.
asking for clarification.
But I don't need you to prove me right or wrong.
I'm
That's
not
just my
trying to prove you
opinion.
right or wrong. I'm asking. You can't even answer the question.
Well,
I'm answering the
understand.
question.
I understand you're trying to give your opinion. You keep saying I'm giving my opinion, but opinions are based on some sort of logical reasoning. Now, all Brian and Andrew are trying to do is try to
I know
figure
exactly
out
what they're
is
trying
that,
to do. They're
what is that
looking for
logical
engagement.
reasoning behind it. Because if there is no logical reasoning behind it, maybe your opinion
I'm
should
going to engage in
change.
your opinion. Yeah, that's true. I'm going to engage in your opinion. That's correct. Yes,
Andrew,
you're right.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
You don't
I
like
don't
it when I
need you to
engage
like
with
it.
your opinion?
No, I'm talking about the dynamic. I just don't like it.
Maybe okay, that's
You
fair.
need-
Guys,
No, you
move
need age gap
on.
then.
So-
Move on.
Well,
If
hold
it's
on,
your-
no,
if you-
wait, hold on. Just to be clear, if I want to talk about this for the next 5 hours, we're going to talk about it for the
Yeah.
next 5 hours.
We
It
could
is
talk about it. I
Brian's
don't have
show.
to.
Now, I'm not inclined to talk about it for the
Yeah.
next 5 hours, but if you wanted to move on, instead of kind of attempting to obfuscate and derail, you could just
There
like,
was no derailing or obfuscating. I'm just saying I'm
yeah,
done
you could
talking
just like
about
answer the question.
it. But
So-
I did.
No, you just kind of say, I already answered the question, now move on.
Okay,
The
Brian,
question
you've
was-
been in a bad mood
The
since
question,
everybody
cool,
showed up.
yes, I have been in a bad
Yeah,
mood.
and you're
Deal
taking
with
it out on me right
I'm
now.
not taking it out on you.
You are.
I would engage with you just like this regardless, if I had the most smooth pre-show, I would have engaged with you just like this, regardless. So it has
No,
nothing
you'd
to
be
do
a
with
little
the
bit
fact.
nicer.
No, I can attest. Brian,
I would
There's the tone police. You can be a little bit nicer. I'm not here to be nice. I'm here to have a good conversation.
engage with you.
This is not
I
my
would
first time
engage with
here.
you.
This is
Exactly
my
the
like,
same.
ninth time here.
Yeah,
I'll ask
cool.
one final question, and then I will move it on. So just as a point of clarification, can you answer? You said you don't object if it's older man, younger woman, and they're just hooking up.
It's their business.
But you do object, older man, younger woman, serious long-term monogamous relationship.
I would look at that older man and I would wonder what is going on with his mental health that he needs to date someone who is young enough
So
to
he's
be his
mentally
daughter.
now older men
Sure,
are mentally ill
sure,
for being attracted
sure.
to young adult women.
Yeah, that's
They're
creepy.
it's
creepy.
no, it's a mental illness.
I think so.
You think it's a
So it's a mental illness to date younger women, but it's not a mental illness to fuck them. Like, what is this logic? This is a fucking whore. This the reason she's okay with. Here's why. This is why she's okay with older men fucking younger girls. It's because when she was a younger girl, she'd fuck all the older men. All right, she probably, if she was actually in the military, she'd probably plow through that barracks and bunny hopped her way all the way to the officer quarters. Like, because this logic doesn't make any sense, and she's honestly getting my nerves by being cunty. All right, she's being cunty here. Fucking hell.
mental illness for men to be
Maybe.
attracted to like a stacked 21-year-old, like giant
Just-
fucking
just-
titties,
just
big
not-
fucking
well,
ass.
I don't
need you
Do
to
you think
agree
it's
with
a
me,
mental
guys.
illness?
No, Brian, stop.
I just
It's
don't need
only
to
a mental illness if they want to date them. It's fine to fuck them.
No, I'm telling you, I don't care. It's just my opinion. It's my opinion.
She does care. Here's why she does care. Because if when asked the initial question, do you think it's a problem with age gap relationships? Her answer would have been, I don't care. But she does care. That's why she has a negative opinion.
All right. Hang on. Let's lighten the mood. We'll lighten the mood. All right. Like, here's me throwing you a bone. You want to sing the I Just Got the Ick song? I just got
Please.
the ick. Come on.
It's
You
the
can sing it
ick.
with me.
It is the ick. It's so gross.
It got the ick.
Like, it's grosser to date a younger woman, but it's not gross to fuck him.
It's so gross. What are you doing
It's
dating
so
your
gross.
grandfather?
I know.
Wait, a 49-year-old's their grandfather at 20? That's
It's so gross of that chick to do that.
So
What a
just to be
gross
clear,
chick.
your position is men are mentally ill for desiring young adult women. So like 21-year-old women, it's mental illness.
It's like, yeah, why would you want to date your daughter?
What?
Well, he's not
Right?
dating his daughter.
You
He's
what-
dating-
what
he's
you got?
dating-
Not dating.
Can I
Okay,
ask
okay.
something?
There-
I can get, hold on. Go ahead.
I just want to clarify your position. You originally said mental health, right? You were like, it raises mental health concerns.
Yeah.
I agree with that. And you're using the term mental health illness. Those are two very different things.
What?
You can
No, they're the same.
have
They're the
mental
same,
health
bro.
symptoms.
They're the same.
Okay, so
Like-
articulate what she's trying to say when she says it's a mental health thing. Yo, Payo, thank you for the raid, man. Appreciate it. Thank you, Payo. Okay, so what mental health concern is there
Well,
for a
I'm
man
just-
to be attracted to a 21-year-old adult woman? What is
This
the
isn't
mental
my
health?
point. I was just asking a clarifying question. That's all I was doing.
So you're trying to differentiate between mental
Well,
health and mental illness?
I was wondering if you were using the same terminology for mental health and mental illness. It's okay if you
I'm
are.
pretty
Okay,
sure
so
they're
it was
interchangeable.
it was like first of all, it was an off the cuff comment, so it's not that serious. Number one, but
No, I agree.
number two, I said I would be concerned about their mental health. Why are they dating someone? And hear me out for a second before you jump in. There's a lot of men out there who are dating women, sometimes younger or the same
Yep,
age
not
as their
talking about that.
daughters.
Oh, okay.
And because that's where the daughter comment came in, because you said, well, it's not his daughter,
Mhm.
that are about the same age. Why would you want to date someone? Look, first of all, I have a 15-year-old son. I would never, 5 years from now, when he's 20, I would
Hold
never
on.
date a
Okay,
20-year-old.
I actually have a rebuttal to this.
Okay.
So you're saying that any characteristic which a child possesses, you must not then date a person who possesses the characteristic of your child.
No,
so
I
for
didn't say
example,
that.
if the skin color of your child is white, how dare you date somebody
didn't say
who's
that.
the same skin color
Brian, I didn't
as
say
your
that.
child? Right.
it's again, she's like, I didn't say that, but it's the logical conclusion that's the logical entailment we can derive. If just because they're 20, they're the same age as your daughter, Okay, why wouldn't they also apply to the skin color? Is what Brian's
But
doing.
that's the logical.
I didn't say that.
Yes, I know that's not what you said. But do you understand how I'm trying to like make a comparison here? You're saying that if there's a trait that your child possesses, it then becomes weird and creepy
I do
if
think
you
it's very
date somebody
creepy.
who possesses
Yeah.
the same trait. So, for example,
No.
if your child has blue eyes, you are then a predator for
Nope,
dating
I didn't
somebody
say that.
who has blue. That's your argument,
No, it's
though.
not. No, it's not.
Dude, do you really think that's what I'm saying? Do you genuinely think that I'm saying that that's what you said?
You literally just said that in your logic, any type of characteristic
logic.
that person possesses.
Okay, but
would then be
are
off
you
the
saying that
list.
are you saying that I said that you said it verbatim?
I'm because you're
Of
saying,
course, I know you didn't say what I just said.
but you're basically elaborating on something and taking it down a road. That wasn't even a thought in my mind.
I don't understand this comparison.
He's drawing a parallel comparison, like they're comparable.
Or we could just stay on what I actually said. So like I look at you being 21 years old as, oh my God, let me take you under my wing. Let me help you out. Let me
So
let me take care of
infantilizing.
you. But why did she need that?
No, it's. I think I do
Creepy.
agree. Okay, I
That's
will
what you
say,
do to the generation below you.
Okay.
I will
I have a
say
question.
speaking as a-
Do you think a 30-year-old man is mentally ill if they found her physically attractive?
There's a
No.
less than 10 year age
That's a
difference.
weird question.
Less than 10
Do you
years.
think they're mentally ill if they found her physically attractive?
There's a less than 10 years age
Okay,
difference.
35.
I would be concerned. Like, dude, what are you doing with a 21-year-old? Yeah.
I want to go back to your comment about young people
So-
being sponges. I do
Okay.
agree with that. Your prefrontal cortex doesn't develop.
That's
not
until
true.
you're 25.
Okay, so
We should always have like a bingo drinking chart. Your prefrontal cortex it's like one study. That's not actually even true.
Oh,
should
it's peer
so
reviewed.
then
There's multiple
people
studies.
yeah, it's been debunked. So should people be voting then?
Nope.
Should you be able to vote at
Should we
that
have a
age?
vote?
No.
Hold on. Go ahead. Should you be able to vote?
I think that gives.
Here's the thing, I'll give her props. She's actually thinking. All right, she's like shit. What she's thinking right now is shit. So that's a good point.
In our current political system and how one vote, I think that's a hard one. I think that
Look, I'll give this chick props. All right, she's actually thinking it through. She's a lot smarter than this dumb broad here. The chick next to her. All right, she's a lot smarter. Here's why. All right, what Brian just did is the same thing they've been trying to do with the old chick, old hoe. Is they're doing her logical entailment. All right, so her logical entailment is, you can't date you can't have a 20 age gap because, sponge, blah, 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 blah. So Brian asks, all right, what about voting? Because everything you just said would apply to voting. It's the same, it's a good parallel. So therefore your logical entailment could be here. So the props to her where she realized that, she's thinking about it, and it's like, it's kind of, she's not being stubborn. This is why this here perfectly is why men prefer younger women. This is a great parallel, okay? 34-year-old chicks have been arguing back and forth. They've been trying to understand her logical entailment. They're trying to get her to see the logic of her like the logical flaw in her argument. And she's not having it. She's being stubborn. She just won't let it go. She's like, that's not what I said. That's not my, she's not actually, engaging in the conversation. Now you bring it to the 21-year-old here. Okay, I think that's what she said. She's 21 years old. And they ask, it's basically been the same conversation with those two, where they's like, all right, well, you had this issue with age gap relationships because of XYZ. That also, the logical entailment would be that also applies to voting. So what about voting? And now she's thinking about it. She's like, she's really thinking about it. So she understands what they're doing is another logical entailment on her view. And, she's not being as stubborn about it, saying, no, that's fine, blah, blah, blah. So my point is we just witnessed here, all right, the reasons why men go for younger chicks. That's why. That's why old men go for younger chicks. Is this parallel right here? You saw her argue this entire time, and being unreasonable, being a pain in the ass, and then they had virtually a similar conversation with Miss 21-year-old over here, and she's thinking about it. She's understanding their logic. She's not as annoying and stubborn and cunty about it. It's really amazing.
Hold on. Okay, so let me ask you a question. Okay, so with your vote, you could elect a representative, a president, congressman,
Governor.
represent whatever it is, who could send us to war, which could lead to a nuclear holocaust. Do you think that that's a bigger issue than being able to have a romantic sexual relationship with a man who's 20 years older than you?
I think that's a very interesting comparison to draw
Yeah.
between those
Well,
two
hold on,
issues.
but with
Yeah,
your
completely
vote,
separate.
I
with
don't
your
know how
vote,
the
you
conversation's
can.
gotten here.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, now she's losing it. She's getting influenced by Miss Cunty over here.
with your vote, you can empower a representative who could send us to war, that could result in conceivably some sort of catastrophic scenario where there's nuclear war.
Do you think my vote individually would have that much of an impact? One individual
Yes,
vote?
Yes, it
the
does.
elections sometimes
100%.
can come down to just 2,000 or 3,000 votes. Sometimes they can come down to just 20,000 votes. Yes, definitely your vote matters a great deal. So what Brian's ultimate point here is if your prefrontal cortex is not developed until you're 25 and you can't make rational decisions on who you will end up with, only a person with a prefrontal cortex which is fully developed can, then why would we give you the rights to drive, vote, participate in signing contracts like the military, things like that? You're basically saying that you don't have the cognitive ability to make the decision to date older men, but you have the cognitive ability to run the nation and assist in that. And that's where the comparison is, where you're like, what?
Yeah, well, it's not even make the cognitive decision to date older men. It's making the cognitive decision to make any wise dating decisions whatsoever. So should people before the age of 25 be dating at all?
But we're
With that
so
logic,
far
no,
from the
because they
actual
can't make
question.
logical decisions until
See, she keeps trying to bring it back to the question. Look, just because they ask a question doesn't mean they have to stay on the question, okay? So what she's trying to do is trying to assert her dominance and try to lead Brian's show. That's what she's trying to do here. That's why she's like, let's bring it back to the question. We're off the question, yes, because we took in a path that has delved into this. So the question at the moment is moot. Quit bringing it up.
they turn 25.
We're so far from the actual question. You asked me my opinion on what I thought about 21-year-old, but now we're down like voting, the
Well, no,
military.
no.
Like,
we're
can we
making
just stick to the
parallel
point? Like,
comparisons.
The topic shifted. Hang on, the topic shifted off of you because she brought up the prefrontal cortex argument. This is a very common feminist argument. Happens often. And I'm fine with the argument. I just am only fine with it if we can agree on the entailments of what that means. It's like, if you're saying that a woman's prefrontal cortex is not fully developed till 25, and because of that, she's not making good rational decisions about who she can or can't date, then why would we let her make rational decisions about other things which have impacts? That's the point.
She probably doesn't like young people
She
don't
has a
even
voice.
understand what
She
it
has a
means.
voice. She has a voice. She can speak. I
I'm not
promise.
talking about her.
Yeah.
I'm talking about her.
No,
I'm talking about the woman, the girl in the scenario. I'm not talking about her.
I'll let you finish.
No, you go ahead. You're good.
It's okay.
I wasn't even talking about you.
No, you're all good. I knew
Yeah.
you weren't. You're all good.
Fucking idiots. Andrew was specifically talking to her. She is an attention whore, wanted the attention back on her. That's why she butted in. But Andrew's question, okay, the logical entailments he was trying to get at are because of her. So he's having a conversation with her, not talking with her. So what? Like, oh my God.
I think that is an interesting question to pose. I think that it also does come to the fact that I pay taxes currently.
So
Do you?
Yes, I do. I pay taxes. I work. I have had multiple jobs. I pay taxes. And I do think that under a democracy, I do think that my vote, I do think I kind of, even if my prefrontal cortex hasn't developed fully.
Ooh.
Go ahead, Andrew.
15 and 16-year-olds pay taxes.
I'm not 15.
I know, but 15 and 16-year-olds pay taxes. So that would mean that by the entailment of that, 15 and
We
16-year-olds
should
should be
just
able
go
to
back to
vote.
the question.
again, asserting her dominance. I wish they would call her out. Like, hey, could you quit trying to assert your dominance? You're not running the show. We're having a different conversation. Attention's off you. Shut up.
Right?
The original question.
What?
I said, I really just think we should all just go back to the original question.
Yeah, I know. But why? I'm sorry. I know that the attention's not 100% focused on you right this second, but we're having a conversation with somebody else because I'm curious about the worldview here as well. If you say, I pay taxes, so I should be able to vote. Okay, that makes sense. But then that would apply to all taxpayers, which would include 14, 15, 16-year-olds who have part-time jobs. They pay taxes. Should they be able to vote?
No.
There's a question for you.
I know. I'm taking a moment to think.
Sure.
I appreciate that. I really appreciate she's actually thinking through this. She's not just spouting off any, like Miss 304 over there.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, now this is just getting a little too long.
I personally don't think that I would be able to give an answer on that right now. I don't know. I think that I'd have to think about it longer. And I think that we should move.
Before she says this piece, another reason why men go for younger women is the simple fact that she's at least admitting she understands that she can't actually give a logical response to this. While Miss Bullhead 304 fake army chick, at this point, I think she's a fake army chick, can't just wants to well, I didn't say that. And, it's two separate things, not actually answering the question. There's nothing wrong with saying, I don't know if I can actually answer this. I haven't really thought through it that much. There's nothing wrong with that. And that's a good answer. Like, hey, I haven't actually thought through this. I don't know if I can answer that well. And I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised if they move on, from this, or unless ask another question to maybe try to help her think through this process. But they're not going to bully her into an answer. If it's I don't know, it's I don't know. That's fine.
Go on to the next person and keep discussing. I was simply just trying to add on that I agreed with one of your earlier points, and I respect your opinion.
Oh my
I was
God.
only trying to do that, and that has led us down a million gajillion rabbit holes, and I think that we should continue moving around.
All right. Well, never mind. I've changed my thought. I think we should just keep bullying her until she shuts the fuck up. Like, I hate that. Bitches, this isn't your podcast. You don't get to dictate the flow. They want to have this conversation and just shove it down your throats. They can do that. Okay. You don't have to sit there and take it, but they can do that if they want. So quit trying to direct the show. Okay. You should have, what she should have done. And this is why she needs male guidance. What she should have done says, I don't know if I can answer that. I haven't thought that it through enough. If she said that, they probably would have moved on from her. All right. They probably instantly would have been like, all right, well, that's a good question. Okay. But no, she wants to I think we should go on. She's being influenced by the older 304 here.
Are you just conceding the point then?
Well, there's no point to concede to. You asked me my opinion. I gave you my opinion. And you guys vultures are hold on, let's talk about the military and voting and all these other things. I just said it gave me the ick. I don't like it. And I don't need you to agree or disagree.
Well, I think
What do you mean? What do you mean, like vultures?
Andrew,
You've just been asking
you and I
questions
have
one
done
at a
this
time.
before. You and I have done this before.
Oh, you mean when I was in a room where I was outnumbered 9-1?
You're not
Oh,
outnumbered
did I
ever.
traumatize you in a room where I was outnumbered
You never
9-1?
traumatized me.
Really? Are you serious?
Andrew, you're not outnumbered.
Did that mean you outnumbered 9-1 and I was the vulture? Like what?
No, I didn't say that. And you weren't outnumbered at all. There was 5 guys on that show.
No, there wasn't.
Yeah,
there was the host. And the host stayed silent for the entirety of the show except Sartain, who moved it
There was
on.
5 guys
And it was
on that
me and
show.
one other guest.
No, it
It was me and one other guest.
No, there was Michael. I
Yeah,
forget
the
other guy's name.
hosts. Those are the hosts.
Yeah,
They didn't
there's
say
5
shit the
guys.
whole show. They didn't say anything the whole show.
That doesn't mean they
It
weren't
was-
there.
It was all women versus 2 guys, and the other guy barely said anything. So I don't know if you how we were the vultures, but okay.
All right. Well, I do want to get the other panelists in on this. So back to the original thing. Toby Maguire, your thoughts
Thank you.
on
Oh, see, this is the problem with Brian. Thank you. All right, shut up. This isn't your show. Fuck off. Oh,
Now I'm trying to reel it all out.
You had a lot of time to think about it.
Yeah, I know. It's a lot at once.
okay, he's 49, she's 20.
okay. You can say you had a lot of time to think about it. Guess what? You didn't make any points of your own. Shut up.
Your thoughts?
I believe it's anybody's opinion.
Now I'm still being 1.5 because unless they say something interesting, I don't give a shit. I want to get back to when she talks again about this stuff or when she rage quits.
And against their own, because I have been and I have known people in age gap relationships or casualties to where I'm like, I know one couple that is still together to this day. I believe she's 18 and he's 40. And they've been together for, I think it's 20. I might have the age difference.
They met
but they met
when she was 18.
Yes.
And he was 40.
She's
about to say that together.
No.
I think we can agree to get to that.
It's a consensual relationship. I have been to their place to where I'm like, they pretty much act like an old married couple.
So when they met, she was 18 and he was 40.
Yes.
Okay. But in terms of
Reality check donated $200. So, Willow Lady basically called all men mentally ill. Congratulations. Now all your potential partners are mentally ill. Have fun with that.
it's actually true because most men are attracted to young adult women.
Yeah.
But what about if it's the opposite? What
So,
happens if the women go after the men?
Yeah, that's fine.
Just let me clarify again. First of all, I did not say that if they're attracted to younger women is a problem. I said if they're pursuing someone the same age as their daughter, that's weird. That's weird. And I
Okay,
would
so
be
what if
concerned.
let me ask you a question. Let's say there's a 50-year-old man with a daughter and a 50-year-old man without a daughter. Is there any differentiation there?
No, I feel like that generational.
But they're the same age.
No,
I don't
I think
understand.
like a 20-year gap is so
No, answer the
massive.
question. Answer the
What
question.
was your question? What's the actual question?
A 50-year-old man
Yeah.
without a daughter
Yeah.
and a 50-year-old man with a daughter. They're the same age.
Mhm.
Do you object to them both?
Yes.
But he doesn't have a daughter.
I'm
So
saying
it could
that
be
large
the
of an
daughter's
age gap.
It could be the daughter's age.
Well, that large of an age gap is gross to me. It's gross. And going back to the
Sorry, I gotta bring it back. It's just gross. Icky.
mentally ill thing. I don't need you to agree with me. I don't need you to agree with me.
They're not asking for you to. They're not trying to agree with you. They're just trying to understand your logic. Okay.
Okay, so it's
I don't
mental.
need you to
It's a
agree with
mental illness, though, for men to be attracted to like a 21-year-old.
Not to be attracted, but why are you
To date. Okay,
why are
fine,
you
to date.
dating her? Why are you dating her? Yeah, absolutely.
Uh,
My
I
last
think it's weird.
follow-up that
I
I
think
have
it's
on
weird.
this, and then I agree, we've kind of beaten the dead horse,
Yeah,
right?
I think it's
But
weird.
My last follow-up, would you ever accept from me the argument that I do not condone LGBTQ because I find it to be gross? Would you ever say that that's okay?
That's your opinion. That's your opinion. So like if you
Yeah, you wouldn't question my opinion, though. If I wanted to vote to legislate it or things like that, then would you oppose it?
it's not
Then
my
would I have to
it's
have
your vote.
justifications for it?
It's your vote. You can do whatever you want with your vote.
So you wouldn't even
Your-
question it. You would
The
just say, no
question
problem,
is
it's
if
just
I
your
have
opinion.
a problem with it or not. I have a problem with it.
So
I think
what if
it's weird.
somebody said that they didn't like other races because they find it icky? Would you say anything about their opinion then?
Again, I'm talking about my opinion here.
See?
I'm talking about my opinion.
So
See, he's asking a question and she just won't answer the question. Here's the thing. All right. Here's the thing. If they actually get an answer out of her, she would have an issue with, a guy having an issue with races or LGBTQ relationship. She'd have an issue with that. But she's understanding that this is a logical trap that Andrew's trying to spread for her. So she's not going to answer the question. Let's see if Andrew gets her to answer the question.
you have no opinions about anybody else's opinions, even if you disagree with them?
I didn't say I had an issue with them being attracted to younger women. I
That's
said I
not
have an
the
issue
question.
with them pursuing the younger women.
You don't really
Yeah, I
answer
know, because it gives
questions.
you the ick.
Okay.
But if the argument is just it's
Ask
the
your
ick,
question, Brian, because I just did.
but if the argument is just it gives you the ick, then I don't know. Couldn't I use that argument for basically any form of discrimination I could ever think of?
Sure.
And would you have anything to say about that, or would you just be like, "Oh, that's fine, it's your opinion"?
Well, I didn't come to argue, first and foremost.
Again, not answering the question.
I didn't come to argue or
You
debate.
didn't come on to
I just
an
came to talk
adversarial
about
dating show
dating
to argue?
topics. I did not come to argue. So that's why I'm saying we should.
Well, did you just come to monologue?
I came to have a conversation, not to argue.
That's what we're doing.
No, we're
that
not.
conversation's become
No, we're not.
adversarial.
No, we're not. When you guys
Yeah,
are
she doesn't
laughing,
answer the
rolling your eyes, like making statements and comments that
Hey,
basically try to
What are you
invalidate
guys doing?
my opinion and things like that.
Wait, hang on. Yes, it's okay for me to make arguments that invalidate your opinion if I disagree with it, one. And two, you think that we have a monopoly on eye rolling in this conversation? Really?
If you're having just like a regular conversation, there's a respect level where you're exchanging ideas, but that's not what's happening here. That's
What is
not what's
happening here?
It's like 3-4 people at a time jumping in to like basically invalidate that person's opinion.
Yeah, what if their opinion's wrong and you wanted to invalidate? Like, for instance, if you were a racist who just said, I don't like X race because I find it icky, what would be wrong with 4 of us jumping in and going back and forth with that person one at
These
a
are
time
two
in order to
complete-
invalidate a bad opinion.
They're two completely different topics.
No,
Like-
the logic is
Yeah,
exactly
so
the
it's
same. If
not
somebody
the
gives
same.
the justification
It's not
of
the
ick,
same.
They're different
do you know what
topics, but the logic is the
justification
same.
of ick is ick.
Yeah.
That's it.
Anyways, did you give an answer?
Yes.
Did we
I'm
get an
gonna-
answer?
Yes.
What was it?
I think it's to each their own as long as they're consenting adults.
Okay, so no issues with.
So again, that's the answer. Blondie 304 over here should have had was, or sorry, great, whatever. Bleach blonde 304 here. Army, fake army chick 304, fake army 304. There you go. Had is if she, because she's like, I don't care. Like at some point she said I don't care. Then that would have been the answer. I don't know. I don't care.
Toby Maguire, 49, dating 20-year-old Lily.
No.
Okay, your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't think that's weird or anything like that. I mean,
Okay, you're fine with it.
Okay. They're adults. They want to do
Wait,
it.
can you just scoot your mic to the edge of the table?
They're adults. They can do what they want to do. She's 21. Apparently, it's adult.
You should probably scoot your chair in. So
no problem with it.
I could not care less. Women tend to mature quicker than men, anyways. I would not date anybody my age.
you guys just show of hands. Just show.
What about their Abdullah oblongata? I mean, their prefrontal cortex, though. Did you ever think about that? What about their prefrontal cortex? Never even thought about that, did you? You just thought, well, they mature faster.
See,
So
that's
it's fine.
not having a conversation, Brian. That's where now you're
That was
being
me
a dick
making
for
a
her.
joke. And you see
It's
how she
not
laughed.
a joke.
I know that you're allergic to laughter
It's not
and
a
having
joke.
any sort of a good time, but you know, it was clearly a joke.
That's where you're like being
Joking.
disrespectful.
Okay. Look,
Any sort of a good time. Oh, can you see
It's
how she
not-
laughed?
that's
So it's fine. Thought about that, did you? You just thought about that? About their Abdullah oblongata. I mean, their prefrontal cortex, though. Did you ever think about that? What about their prefrontal cortex? Never even
clearly it's a joke. This is an entire joke. And
thought about that, did you? You just thought, well, they mature faster.
See,
So
that's
it's fine.
not having a conversation, Brian. That's where now you're
That was
being a
me
dick to
making
her.
a joke, and you see
It's
how she
not a
laughed. I
joke.
know that you're allergic to laughter
not
and
a
having
joke.
any sort of a good time, but you know, it was
Yeah.
clearly a
That's
joke.
where you're like being
Joking.
disrespectful.
oh,
That
shut
was
up.
the opposite of disrespect. I was making fun of you by laughing
I
with
didn't-
her.
I didn't say
That's
anything
not
about the
disrespectful.
prefrontal, but yeah.
Okay. Do you have any further thoughts on the?
Yeah, no,
Tell me move on here.
I think there are other reasons besides mental illness that a man would be interested in dating someone who's younger. My roommate and I discuss this topic regularly, where we don't want to date someone who's over the age of like 30, 31, 32, because one, they all have all of this extra life baggage. Like, why have you matured now? What took you so long in your life to be like, okay, now I'm going to start considering marriage specifically? Two, I'm wondering, am I going to be able to actually have a family with you? I know women have a clock and it's ticking. I want to have a bunch of kids. I want to have a large family. That's really important to me. I don't want to spend the first 5 to 10 years of my marriage deprogramming all of that emotional baggage, all of that trauma, all of that, whatever word you want to use, whatever buzzword. I don't want to have to spend all that time doing that at the same time as trying to raise a family, maybe having your emotional trauma baggage poured into the kids, into those impressionable minds. I don't want to have to deal with that. So I understand why a man any age, whether that's 49, whether that's 20, would want to date a woman who's a little younger. It makes sense. And there are other reasons besides mental illness that they would want to do so.
The problem here is the 304 army, fake army, doesn't give a fuck about what men want. It's all about what she wants, what women want. She doesn't care about what men want. That's why she never considered any of these other things, and why she thinks life experience is so important. Okay, she doesn't care what men want. Very obvious.
Okay.
Do you want to walk back the mental illness thing, or you're pretty confident?
I said that I'd be wondering what's going on with them mentally, that they would be attracted to someone 20 years their junior.
And he just and I don't, unfortunately I don't remember who this guy is. But he seems smart, but he just explained why.
So no, I'm not
so
walking
it
you
is
back.
attracted. Because before you said
to
dated,
date, to like to be with,
but you just said
sure.
if they're attracted.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
just
like
by virtue of being attracted to a kid,
to like to be. No, I'm not
so-
walking mentally that they would be attracted to someone
Oh, look
20
at that!
years their junior. So
You did
no,
say
I'm not walking you
is
back.
attracted. Because before you said
to
dated,
date, to like to be with.
but you just
yeah,
said
okay, sure.
if they're attracted.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
just by virtue of being attracted to a 21-year-old woman.
listen,
mental
I'll
illness.
go in a little bit further here, okay? When I have conversations
Even the chick here is like, shit, they got you.
with people that are 20 years younger than me, or let's say, just to keep it like at 20, right? Sorry, what?
Nothing.
I'm looking at them as like, they're immature, they're not experienced in any way, shape, or form. They're vulnerable, they're impressionable, right? Their eyes wide open, deer in the headlight, right? To me, if a man is 20 years older, and by the way, somebody said in here, that chat right there, like 30 is appropriate, but I'm talking about early 20s. They're barely out of high school. And if you're going to consider like one, being with them, having a relationship with them, settling down with them, et cetera, like you're preying on them. It's like they're not even on the same level as you. Like, what do you have in common with someone 20?
Oh my god! So now they're preying on him. I don't understand why people always like. Why do you have in common with him? You can build commonality. Okay, what matters is the value. And maybe if she's 20, she's unsure of her values. You can mentor and lead her to the value that you would value highly in a partner, and she could gain that value as well. But like, I don't understand this. So now it's predatory. What the hell?
Years your junior, they probably can't even name a pop artist from your generation.
Really? There's a whole lot.
So who gives a fuck whether she can name a pop artist? Again, you can build commonality with people easily. It's not that hard. Okay, you just got to introduce them into one thing that you like, and if they end up liking it, they're boom, your commonality. You don't have to come into a relationship with you can have nothing common together, so long as your values are aligned. That's what matters. And if she's impressionable, 20 years old, you can mold her into having the same values as you and build commonality later on. But commonality is not that important when you're getting into a relationship. It's ridiculous. They always go with, what do you have in common with? Why do I need to have something in common? I can gain something in common with them later on.
Out there, you said pray. You mentioned the commonality thing.
Yeah.
Okay, what in general do men and women have in common to begin with? That would be sufficient enough to, just on the basis of having a commonality, would be like, I'm wanting to date this person just on the basis of us having shit in common. Said no one ever.
That's not true, Brian.
Said
That's
no one
literally
ever.
not true.
Bro,
Literally,
have you
it's
ever
literally
known a
not
guy?
true.
Have you ever known a guy who you had the most in common with, but you didn't end up dating them?
Yes.
I mean, I have friends that I have a lot in common with,
But
that we
you're
didn't date,
not-
because there's chemistry and
Right,
sexual attraction
so
is being
it's
needed
clear,
as well.
but would you agree it's clear then that having commonalities is not high in the totem pole of
No, I disagree.
what matters?
I disagree.
You mentioned pop artists. I don't give a fuck what kind of music a girl listens to. And if she's dating me long enough, she's going to like my shit.
That's so weird that you would like suggest that she would have to like your shit. Like,
But that's not what I said.
But she will.
That's not what I said.
Yeah, I just disagree. I just think a 20-year age gap. I just think a 20-year age gap is wild.
Right, but you said
like,
pop
why?
artists.
I brought it up as like an example.
Okay,
like
fine.
it's just a random example.
So then cultural touchstones. Oh, we watch the same shows. We both listen to the same music.
Like the same.
I don't
I
care.
think having things
Don't
in common.
care.
Well, if all you care about is your sexual attraction,
Nope,
period, and that's where you
no,
end
that's
it.
not even
Okay,
it.
I just want to clarify. I just want to clarify.
But just
because we're
to
talking about things you have in
clarify,
common.
I think liking the same music is far more superficial than what you're trying to suggest here by there's the sexual component. Who your favorite pop artist is, same music.
It's just one example of having something in common.
Okay,
with
what are some
someone.
things in common that would warrant me to date somebody?
I think you should have a lot of things in common. I think you should enjoy doing the same things, going to the same places, hanging out with the same people.
Okay, I don't
I
like
would
that.
say the only thing really is like morals and maybe.
Right, but
values. Okay, what's more important is the values you share. That's far more important.
Well, no. I'm not disagreeing or agreeing with either, but I'm saying as far as agreements, the only thing I could see that would make sense to me personally would be maybe morals, religious. If you're a religious person, maybe
right, but
religion based.
You could, but there's nothing. Having good morals and having hold on, let me finish.
Exactly.
Hold on, let me finish. Having good morals and having a religious worldview. You could be 21.
No, 100%.
And be involved in your faith.
No,
you could be 45 and be an atheist.
100%. I'm just saying that's the only thing as far as
You're
if
not,
you want.
you're not speaking into
I'm just saying as far as being agreeable or having things in common. That's the only thing I could see as.
That's not really commonality. That's more of your values, what your values align as. It's more of a value structure than a commonality structure.
As far as being justifiable of wanting to have those things agreeable, being in the same things in alignment as far as morals and religion. But I'm not saying you have to.
Yeah. So Brian's not understanding what she's saying. What she's not making a distinction between age. She's saying like when it comes to commonalities, which I disagree, that's a commonality. I think it's more of a value structure. But what she's saying is, when it comes to strictly commonalities, it having the same values basically is what she's saying. She's not saying that that's specific to an age. And I think Brian's misunderstanding here.
Be the same
you
age.
can have that in the
No,
age.
yeah, I'm not saying
So,
that it
again,
has to be an age.
Make an argument for the commonality component here.
But don't you want to date people that they're going to teach you something?
No.
Men don't, I mean,
I
not
don't wanna
teach,
be
not,
taught.
not teach you something, but like, not teach you something. Not teach you something. I guess that was the right word. That wasn't the right word. That wasn't the right word.
Go ahead.
So like, you like that kind of music because that's what she brought up. You like that kind of music. I like this kind. I've never heard that. Sure, let me hear it. You want to do that? Sure. It's a commonality. It doesn't have to be.
I don't think it's a commonality though. I think it's more of just being in agreement with sharing.
Why do opposites attract though? Why is that a thing? Like there's some people have something and then the other person completes that and that turns into a match.
Wait, so just to be clear, so commonality, that's super important.
I think it's important.
Having things in common.
I think so.
I don't think
It's only important to old chicks who can't really get many guys, can't get the guys they really want. That's what it is.
it's
Really?
important.
Okay.
No, I don't think
You
it's
think
important.
you think for either men or women, people are looking at like, oh, we have so much in common. If that were the case, you would be, if commonality was really up there, wouldn't people sort for that?
So first of all, when you ask me these questions, like the whole like smug, like I know better, I know that, like I already disagree with you, but you're asking just to make a
star.
Okay,
Hold on.
I go to a TV
Wait,
show.
hold on.
She's
I
trying to
gotta
go with
finish
the meta. She's trying to like go with this meta conversation. It's like, I don't give a fuck. Answer the damn question.
I'm going to finish something just
I mean,
really, really
not
quick.
even me, but I'm saying
Having a conversation, if that's what we're doing, we're having a conversation. Let's have a conversation to be open to other people's ideas and opinions and views and walks of
Well,
life.
I'm firm
But
in my
that's not what you're
beliefs,
doing.
so-
Well, so am I. And
Well,
so
I'm open.
What
I'm actually open to having my mind changed.
we can have a volley of conversation, but
Now she's just tone policing. Brian wasn't nice when he rebutted her opinion. So that Brian's not being nice. He needs to be nicer. Fuck off.
like the whole where I have an issue with these types of conversations is when you already are getting ready to make a point to like flip.
I'm already ready.
Exactly.
ready.
But it's like you're not even like open for the conversation.
Well,
So
hold on.
why are you asking
That's a
your
fair
question?
Listen, I think that's a fair criticism. So I'll tell you, I'm totally open to having my mind changed. In fact, I hate cognitive dissonance. That's a thing that I despise. I've tried to get rid of as much cognitive dissonance in myself as I possibly can. Totally open to having my mind changed. That's why I love having combos like this.
Yeah,
absolutely. But
when
the
we're
thing
having
is
them.
are you willing to have your mind changed?
I would be open to it
No,
for
she's
sure.
not.
But where I'm specifically
Well,
referencing.
how can we do that if we don't? Hang on, I'm almost done. I just wanted a quick yes or no to
Okay.
that. And the reason, here's why. If you're open to having your mind changed and we're having this conversation, how in the world could I change your mind without showing you if we apply this kind of thinking or the rigidity in thinking of I got the ick and then take it to its logical conclusion and you see that the position itself is absurd, how else can I get you to change your mind? Can you actually explain that to me?
Sure.
I actually do want to know the answer to that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think
No, she can't.
it's really difficult for you to completely change the topic in the sake of parallel ideas. You should just stay on the actual topic and maybe ask onion layer peeling questions about how did I get to that logic? So then you would understand where I'm coming from. And you could even have an intelligent conversation in where maybe there's holes in my logic on that
Well,
topic.
great. Then let's start with how
Well,
did
hold
you
on.
come to the position that an age gap relationship is icky?
I'm going to
How
answer
is
that
it-
in
how
1
did you
second.
come to this?
I will answer that in 1 second, but I want to finish what I was saying to Brian. Like, see, like rolling your eyes, shaking your head.
Because it's a meta conversation.
No, it's not meta. It's just you being a jerk.
Do you know what a meta conversation is?
I sure do.
What is it?
A meta conversation is where you're just ice layering on top of each other, where you're not actually addressing the topic.
That's not a meta conversation.
That's not a conversation. It's a conversation about the conversation.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I meant by the layering. You're talking about the same thing. So what I want to like, I think it's really important to address. We all drove here and came here for your show, right?
Okay, meta conversation.
No.
You're literally having a meta conversation.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
But if we're gonna have a conversation, we can have a conversation. But when you're being disrespectful, that's not a conversation.
Right
well,
now.
see, when it comes to the eye rolling, see, perhaps you might view it as disrespectful. But for example, if somebody were to say, Brian, I want to argue with you about the fact that I think that the sky is red.
I don't want to argue at all. I already said that.
Okay, if somebody says something ridiculous, so ridiculous that it warrants an eye roll, I don't see any actual objection there. If somebody is going to say, Brian, the sky's not blue, I don't even know how to have that conversation. And some of the eye roll comes from you saying, I mean, I actually find it quite almost despicable that you want to paint men. You said men prey, men are predators, men are mentally, you would question their mental health. I mean, that's very objectionable language because you're essentially painting almost most or all men as having a pathology, which I object to and I find ludicrous. And when it comes to this commonality thing, I just find that absurd. I mean, why even engage in it? Because it's just ridiculous if you genuinely think that commonality is high on the totem pole in terms of what people find attractive.
I completely disagree with you. If
you disagree that in terms of my assessment of what you said, you've pathologized all men or most men.
No,
you think they're predatory. You think they're prey. You said prey.
I said if there's a 20 plus year age gap, let's be clear, the 20 plus year age gap.
Yes, that's the context of which I'm addressing this. Did you say the word prey?
Mm-hmm. When there's a 20-year age gap, yes.
Okay, so, but you also said it about even men who find them attractive. You did say that too.
Yeah, I think it's weird. Why would you?
Okay, and you think it's predatory. You think they're
if you
preying.
Pursue it, yeah.
You think they're preying, right? So you're pathologizing. So there's the justification for my eye roll. It's just an absurd statement.
Well, it's my opinion.
Well, so
Andrew was
like
trying to get
claiming
into
to
this.
be
Okay, if you're
open-minded,
okay.
Listen, it's perfectly acceptable to have an opinion, and I do want to hear it. Like that's why I come on these shows because I enjoy hearing your opinions.
Yeah.
The reason that I enjoy hearing your opinions is because often, and I've had to change my mind multiple times about different positions that I've had, especially after starting whatever, because I didn't know very much about modern dating. I didn't know very much about how this stuff went at all. And I've been forced to change my opinions many times because I was suffering from cognitive dissonance. There's no doubt about it. There was many things which I had a completely skewed view on that I no longer do after engaging in these panels. So I do want to hear your opinion, but I think you got to listen to ours as well. I think that that's a kind of the fair exchange. So my olive branch here is like, look, we've engaged before, right? And you know that if you give me your opinion, you're genuine. I am going to deconstruct it a bit, but we don't even have to be disrespectful about it. We just go through the opinion and figure this thing out. Right?
Yeah, I agree with everything that you just said when it's done respectfully, but when it's like, it's so clear, like we're not even having a conversation because you're closed off.
Come on, don't tone police. That's just,
it's okay.
It's tone policing.
Well, I'm going to
what's happening right now, what I perceive is happening right now is you're unwilling to engage with the argument because you're feeling offended by the tone. Whereas you could be generous to the other person. Maybe you could even say, Brian's a little immature in his delivery. That's fine. But if you're a mature adult willing to engage with the actual argument that's being posed, I can put away the immaturity. I can put away the disrespect. I've had plenty of people on panels before really disrespect me and how they say things, but I still genuinely engage with the argument that's being presented to me, regardless of how they say it. And I think you should be able to do that as a mature adult. Now, I'm giving this as like a critique to your argumentation style. So instead of attacking somebody because of the way they say things,
I
Brian.
attacked him.
Well, you're okay.
I don't
Maybe
think it's
I don't want to say the
necessarily an
word
attack.
Okay,
Attacking. I think women have a hard time
Okay,
sometimes
maybe I
admitting
need to-
that they're
Okay,
wrong.
well, see, there it goes again. Well, there it goes
Everyone
again.
does.
Because I use the word attack, you're unwilling to engage with what I'm saying right now.
Yeah.
So maybe if I say attack, maybe you can translate that in your mind to say, okay, maybe he's making an argument, or we're having a spirited discussion. Maybe I'm not going to judge him based on the tone or the words he says. Maybe I want to interpret the meaning he's trying to get across.
She's not even listening. She's not even listening. She just checked out.
With saying what he's saying. It's a really immature way to go about having a discussion with somebody, judging them based upon the verbiage, the language, and the tone of what they're using.
I got this. Okay, duly noted. Anyways, why don't you engage with Andrew? Go.
Okay.
Noted. Duly noted. Go ahead. Have the conversation.
Yeah. So I do genuinely want to know how you came to this opinion.
Well, one, I'm a woman who was once in her early 20s, and I did engage with. And when I just want to be clear, I'm not saying sexually, but like I did have conversations.
Oh, she fucked a bunch of older dudes. Let's just get this over with. She banged older dudes. That's why she doesn't have a problem with young chicks banging older dudes. She just has a problem with older guys dating younger chicks. Okay, so she fucked a bunch of dudes that were older than her. But whenever she tried to get in a relationship, they either weren't ready or it wasn't a really good relationship. That's why she hasn't. But the sex was great. That's why she only has an issue with the with the dating, not the fucking.
Did have men hitting on me. I did, work in environments, et cetera, where there was a lot of men that were acting predatorily because I was so young, impressionable, and easy to, coerce to do different things, go different places, et cetera.
Yeah, that guy's right.
I've had a lot of negative experiences with men that are much older than me. And if now that I'm older,
the best part is she's really just ends up making their argument for them. Why age gap relationships, why men prefer younger women. Okay. She's had all these experiences with men, whether it's sexually or not. She's had all these experiences with men. But if I go to a young chick, she's going to have less of those experience and I can have a good experience with her. What she doesn't understand is she's literally making their arguments.
my number one piece of advice to younger women is try to just keep it around the same age as you. Like, I don't think, 20 years, 30 years older than you is appropriate. That's just my personal opinion from my personal lived experiences.
Andrew, I have something on this. If
okay, yeah, sure, go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, so you mentioned that you dated men who were older and they were bad experiences. Yeah, don't doubt that at all. But I also hear from women, for example, who date men their own age and have also bad experiences. Mm-hmm. So it's not clear to me that it really matters. If you're trying to avoid bad experiences, I don't see really.
Bad experiences come in all ages. And I'll see if someone just points out that she just made their argument for them.
What age has to do with it? A guy the same age as you can be just as or more abusive and controlling as an older guy.
Sure can. I just, again, my personal opinion based on my personal lived experiences is that there should be a smaller age gap. I say 10 years is roughly the max.
Okay.
Okay.
So I have a question for
When
you.
you're guiding women, because you said this was your number one piece of advice for younger women. And I didn't get that wrong. I'm not strawmanning that, right? You did say that's your number one piece of advice.
Yeah.
Ladies, don't take advice from this chick at all.
Do you usually guide them only via anecdote?
Clarify what you mean.
Like only your personal experience?
I also, I take into account, who that girl is, their experience, like, a lot of different factors. But in general, young women who are in their early 20s, fresh out of high school, maybe newly going into college. When you graduate when you're 18, fresh out of high school is 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That's not that fresh, but okay. Fair enough.
All right. Well,
I
just saying young
understand.
women.
I mean, let's say within 5 years, it's fresh. We'll just say that for the kind of like the sake of however it is that you feel. But do you understand? So when I talk to different men, I don't actually give advice, right? I make sure not to, because if I'm not intricately familiar with a person's personal situation, I feel like I could actually make it worse if I gave them bad advice. So I tend to stay away from advice giving at all. But one thing I do tell people, and this is the one thing I'll tell anybody who listens, is there is a proper way to think. There's a proper way to think, and there's an improper way to think. And so when I listen to you kind of go through this, what I'm looking for is how is she thinking about this? Why is she thinking about it this way? And why is she arriving at that conclusion? Because most people come to improper conclusions because they have not been taught to properly think. So if we start with an anecdote of you have bad experience with X, that really doesn't mean shit ultimately, right? It would actually be improper thinking to say, because I had negative experiences in field X, that they're
not even listening. She's fucking with her nails. She's not listening, guaranteed.
therefore other people are going to have negative experiences. You would want to look at kind of the whole in order to make a good conclusion before you were to give somebody advice, right? You would agree with that, wouldn't you?
I don't really think it's that deep though, Andrew. I'm just more referring to, when I do have younger women approaching me and talking to me about their male situations, I will go off of what they've shared and I will encourage them to.
If you're getting advice from a 34-year-old single mom, it's not a good idea. If you want to get advice when it comes to male issues and male relationships, you should go to a married woman, preferably a woman who's been married for a significant, a decent amount of time. I'd say like 5 years. It's probably your best bet. And like more preferably is probably a 20-year relationship. But like, if you're going to a 34-year-old single mom for advice on men, it's a bad idea.
Date
because they clearly don't have any
within
idea what they're talking about either.
On age range.
Can I ask you a question about that?
But I mean, that has vast implications for a person's life, right? Like, I mean, it does. Giving a person advice about who they should or shouldn't date has massive implications for the outcomes of their life.
Well, when I'm asked for my advice, sometimes will give it. Not always,
yeah,
but
sure.
sometimes.
No, and I understand. That's okay.
Yeah.
There's plenty of people who give advice, when they're asked and this type of thing. I tend not to. But don't you think that if you're a person who does give advice, that you should be coming to proper conclusions before you give it out?
Sure.
Yeah. So when we're thinking about this, the reason that I'm gauging what you're saying and the reason I'm diving into what you're saying and the reason I want to change your mind about what it is that you're saying is because I think you're coming to an improper conclusion based on bad thinking. And I think that I can assist with that. And so that's why I want the opinion and why it is that you think this. And if all you can say is it's justified via ick, there's no way in the world, because you could justify anything with ick, right? You could justify any discriminatory behavior with ick. You can justify hating women with ick. You could justify hating men with ick. You could justify anything with ick. So that would be improper thinking, wouldn't it?
I don't know, Andrew. I'm. This is again just my.
She wasn't listening, and she checked out of the conversation. Simple as that.
Opinion. What were you gonna say?
My question is. So when I sit there and I look at men my age where I'm from, most of them can't tell their left ass cheek from the right. Okay. So when I sit there and I say, I look at men 30 plus years old because they know what they want. They've been through life. They're ready to settle down.
How old are you again?
I'm sorry.
How old are you again?
26.
Or 26. Okay. That's 30.
So 30, 40, 50-year-old men, that's who I tend to look at. Right. Because they have their shit together. They know what they want. Men in their 20s, men in their 30s, they don't know what they want typically. It's very, very rare to find that. So I don't necessarily agree with your point of they should be closer together. Like I said, women tend to mature significantly quicker than men. I know a lot of women in their 20s who are ready to settle down, but the men aren't.
I have one question for you. Would you prefer, here's the scenario. So a woman dates a man who's, say she's 21, dates a 35-year-old. Just really quick, do you object to that age gap?
It's getting a little out there, but it's not as
enough
bad
to give
as
you the
40. Yeah, it's not as bad as 40.
So let's say he's a good guy. He wants a monogamous relationship, doesn't cheat on her, wants long-term. Or would you prefer to see that woman, say, in the period over the course of 2 years, get kind of strung along by like fuck boys her age? Which do you prefer?
I think if the guy is like genuinely a good guy and actually interested in her, like for more than just her physical looks and her appearance and the fact that she can pop out 20 babies, like there's actually like care for her, then I think that a 35-year-old, 21-year-old, it's pushing it from my personal opinion. But I think that to your point would be a better scenario than her.
Does it change if she's 40? Excuse me. Does it change if he's 40?
I just wonder why, like, out of all.
No, but okay. So the question is, in this scenario, he's a good guy, monogamous, wants a long-term relationship
more
with her.
questions for me.
Right. But would you rather see her in the situation with the older man who wants to have a long-term monogamous relationship with her, is not going to cheat, and be loyal, or for her to just be hoeing around and sleep with 20 frat boys her age? Which would you prefer?
If you see Andrew talking and not hear him, like he's talking to his own chat. That's what he's doing.
To see.
I mean, I prefer them both to be settled and happy.
Not the question. That's not the question.
Answer
the question. There's two options. Which would you prefer to see?
The 21-year-old and the 35-year-old?
Okay, so I changed it to 40. So
okay. I
21-year-old.
I think it's starting to get weird at 40, but
yes,
I do.
You've already said that.
I know, but I was in the middle of saying I would prefer to see them both like settled and happy. And again, it's a little uncomfortable for me, but I would prefer that for both of them.
Over her sleeping with men
and him.
Her
but
age.
yes, yeah.
Wait, what do you mean?
Well, because it's really common in these particular red pill settings that like.
Is this a red pill setting?
Come on.
Are you fucking retarded?
I'm sorry. What?
There was an option.
Bro, you dropped the prop.
Well, I didn't know it was going to come out.
Well, I mean, probably shouldn't play with props.
Brian, you don't need to be so rude.
Could I make a comment as soon as...
Like, why would you call me fucking retarded?
Because, I mean, you dropped the prop. It's on the floor.
Now, to be fair, Brian didn't actually call her retarded. He asked a question. This is where she's rage quitting. This is here why I don't think she was actually in the army, okay?
Or now you haven't done anything to pick it up.
Well, I would, but I'm a little distracted by you calling me fucking retarded.
Yeah, I mean, here's the tone policing again. So, is this a rage quit?
Like
I'm not rage quitting. You're just so disrespectful. Like
you literally. Yeah.
Hang on. Listen, hang on. It's been super hostile. Let's finish the combo. You don't want to finish the combo?
I love you, Andrew, but I'm not going to call fucking retarded.
It was kind of fucking retarded.
It was also insulting the mental illness. And
it was a little.
So this is why I don't think she's actually been in the military. Here's why. If you're going to get offended for being let's just, say that she did call her fucking retarded. All right. You can make that, oh, you called her fucking retarded. Okay. If you're going to get offended for being fucking retarded, you really couldn't handle the military because the military, they're a bunch of assholes. Okay. Okay, like it's the kind of like the antithesis of men talk to are going to talk to their women, the women that the same type of way, similar. All right, they're gonna once it's like you're gonna hear that type of shit all the fucking time, and you're gonna get offended by being called fucking retarded. Okay, like no. Here's what, I don't think she was in the military, or I guess maybe she was in the military. She didn't actually experience it. She probably was just in a desk job. She wasn't really in the field that much. She didn't really have to deal with like any real issues. She was probably in an air conditioned office. So what she really happened. And here's my problem is like in Access Vegas, she claimed that she was, in the she was like air assault, all that stuff. She's been through all this hard shit, blah blah blah, fucking blah. Don't believe it at all. But she got offended by being by retarded. That's what she got offended by. And here's what it's like. I don't believe any of the shit you just said. I don't even think you're in the military now. If you're offended by fucking retarded, I don't think you're in the military. All right, I don't think so. Hold on. So it's hilarious. Anyways, that's her rage quit. She, you call me fucking retarded. Here's what really happened is she realized she was failing miserably, and she looked at the first opportunity she got to get the fuck out of there. And she could do this whole, oh no, he called me retarded, I'm gonna run away type shit. Like it's ridiculous. You got offended for it was a question really, but okay, you could take that as someone calling you retarded. But you're gonna get offended over that, and you're some badass army chick that you claim to be in Access Vegas. Come on, get over yourself. It was hilarious. All right. There we go. We suffered through this all. We're all good. I know you can probably see my sweat glistening. It's hot as hell where I'm at. All right. My AC's running as hard as it can. All right. So moving on finally, after that super long hour, almost 2 hour thing, we're going to check this out. I haven't even watched this either, so I have no idea. I did comment. I didn't look at because this is Jake Rousnick. He asked the question, who would like to see me moderate a debate between Rachel Wilson and the red-headed libertarian and all that. And yeah, so let's see what was going on
We
here.
wanted to talk about the e-girls today, didn't we? The right-wing e-girls and this phenomenon of like
the paradox.
Yeah, the paradox of having a girl in a bikini selling coffee or beer or being on a calendar.
Lily.
Take those women, and I got.
So, as you can see, this is a bunch of clips. This is a bunch of clips of the show and putting it together type situation.
Into some trouble at the beginning of the year with a certain person who was baking a cake about this too, right?
You're bringing up Josie. Like, Josie's not the main representative.
She was baking a pie.
I know, or whatever.
We shouldn't take those women, push them to the front, and make them like the political mouthpieces for the right wing. Because if you were
Oh, so this is about someone else. I thought this was about Isabella Moody. Because she was baking a cake, right? Or was it Isabella Moody or DeLuca? I can't fucking remember. It's one of the chicks. It's some chick, but she was like baking a cake, and her tits were like basically front and center while she was making the cake and stuff. But apparently, it's this, I guess, the redheaded libertarian broad that we're talking about here. I had no idea.
were to be like, hey, what's the Fourth Amendment? They're gonna be like, I don't.
The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated. No warrant shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched or the persons or things to be seized. That means that the government can't search you or take your things without a warrant issued by a judge and secured by evidence.
You wanted to.
Okay. That so. All right. Like, seriously, like. You okay, you have a constitution, you're reading it word for word. Yeah, you're showing it to, but you're probably reading it word for word. It doesn't prove much. Unwarranted search and seizures is the Fourth Amendment. Okay, like you could have done that. But apparently she took this as Rachel talking about her hold on. Did Rachel? Oh, okay, there it goes. So here's her response. I wasn't talking about you. Alex thought that I was, but I was talking about another incident towards the beginning of the year. Alex and I sorted it out in the car ride after. So I was right. It was Isabella. I thought there was another thing. And also, she didn't really make a point. I thought Rachel talked they'd had a back and forth. Thought. Anyway, so Jake Rattlesnake said, "Hey, who wants to see me do a fucking debate or whatever?" And between them, and she, the redheaded libertarian, said, "No, I'm not gonna." So she already said she's gonna back out, which is always these things. Like whenever you try and do like a debate or something between these people, they always just run away from it. I swear to God, Rachel Wilson had it more on this that she talked about. I'm just looking. Hold on. Oh, okay. Come on. Sorry. Anyways, I get what Rachel was really talking about is like anytime you get a hot chick who does something and then spouts some Republican beliefs, the Republican Party or some conservative beliefs, the conservatives like to push her up and rise her to the occasion for nothing more than simply being hot. That was really Rachel's main point on the damn thing. And it's kind of funny that this chick's like, oh, she's talking about me, I must respond. Unless she says your fucking name, doesn't really fucking matter. Like, it really doesn't matter. Like, it wasn't just specifically on the redheaded libertarian. It was mainly a statement on all broads. Like, every time you get any fucking woman here, or anytime any hot woman does something conservatives like, all of a sudden they need to be put front and center and shown to the world. That's what Rachel's point was. And she has a very good point, because every time, look at fucking Hawk to the girl, what's her name, Lily Gladys or whatever. These are hot women to say something kind of edgy, do something kind of edgy, and conservatives, it's not really a democratic thing. And so conservatives take these women and put them in the forefront, and that's it. Like Lily Gladys, she said something edgy. She had a decent interview with Tommy Sotomayor, and all of a sudden she's invited to the Republican or the Conservative Convention or something like that. And it turns out she ends up getting she ends up leaving her kid, goes and does drugs and gets fucked a bunch, apparently. And so that's what Rachel's really talking about, not like Lily in specific, but just Republican conservatives will get a woman who's attractive, says some sort of conservative ideas, and put her in the forefront of everyone to bolster her and rise her to fame and put her in front and to say some stuff, and it always just blows up in our faces. That's all it always ends up doing. Like, these women haven't proven themselves of being actually conservative women. Okay, they're if you're going to take the actual conservative of meaning, but you just put them in the forefront because they're hot. That's all they offer, is they're hot. That's all it is. So that was Rachel's main point. And I guess the redheaded libertarian took that as she talking about me. And then some other guy, I guess, did an analysis on it. And maybe if I have time, I'll do it. I have a little bit of time. Hold on. All right, so these women here have successfully prevented migrant men in Finland from assaulting their women. Watch. This is how they've done it.
Stop! Don't touch me there. This is my no-no square. Stop! Don't touch me there. This is my no-no square.
What the fuck is this shit? All right, so they So, instead of instituting policies that would prevent this, they do some sort of TikTok video and shit like that, and that's how it's stopping. You know what? A man who's wants to assault women sees this. He sees someone go, "Stop! Don't touch me there. This is my no square," and shit. There's oh, I'm still gonna do it. This does nothing. What is the point of this fucking? This is so retarded. And of course, it's 3 women and 1 guys, and they're 2 guys, and they're probably, those dudes are probably weak feminized men. So, there's no leadership there. Whatever city this is in Finland, you're probably fucked. Because this is what you're gonna do to combat it, not institute any policies or do anything that actually would prevent any assault. But no, I'm gonna, you think a guy who wants to do something bad to you really gives 2 fucks that you're gonna do a no square dance? Fucking stupid. All right, let's we're gonna go back. Okay, we're gonna go back. Okay, and apparently this guy here, the Aristocratic Utensil, did a video on the Rachel Wilson and Josie redheaded libertarian thing. Let's see what he had to say on it. I got a 1.5 speed. It's only 20 minutes, and we'll call it good because I need to get that stupid video, that last video, out of my fucking head.
Yes, greetings, folks. So, I was informed about this little scuffle by my friend Vex, but before I don my intellectual top hat here, I must address this whole situation because it's very petty and stupid and makes no sense whatsoever. AKA, it is exactly the kind of thing my audience expects me to be blunt force trauma about. So this is between Josie, the...
Yeah, I don't know who the fuck this guy is, but I love him. All right, I'll make sure to link his this video into the in my description. But this is the Aristocratic Utensil, and I honestly I'm gonna give him a subscription because I already like this guy as is.
Redheaded libertarian and Rachel Wilson, Andrew Wilson's wife. Now, I happen to like Josie. I happen to be quite fond of libertarian ideals. Much of my monarchical thought is based on it. All hail Hans Hermann Hoppe and Ludwig von Mises. I even did a video poaching a piece by the Mad Monarchist several years ago about why all libertarians should be monarchists. And I'm friends with Rachel's husband, Andrew, and I have a lot of overlap with the blog. So, all things considered, I'm fairly 50-50 here. One can always consider me an honorable and just metalhead and be a cold-hearted, logical asshole. Besides, I'm very open about my bias. I'm a monarchist. Yay, democracy is cringe and gay. Representation sucks ass, and women need to get the hell out of politics. So, what kicked...
I mean, can you really call yourself a libertarian, dude? All right, whatever.
All of this off is this.
Well, I guess he did say he's a monarchist, not a redhead, not a libertarian, but still.
Flip a dozen times. Here is my response.
We wanted to talk about the e-girls today, didn't we? The right-wing e-girls and this phenomenon of like
paradox.
Yeah, the paradox of having a girl in a bikini selling coffee or beer or being on a calendar.
Lily.
Those would take those women, and I got into some trouble at the beginning of the year with a certain person who was baking a cake about this too, right?
You bring up Josie. Like, Josie's not the main representative.
She was baking a pie.
I know, or whatever.
We shouldn't take those women, push them to the front, and make them like the political mouthpieces for the right wing. Because if you were to be like, hey, what's the Fourth Amendment? They're going to be like, I don't.
The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated. No warrant shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched or the persons or things to be seized.
And also, I just want, before this guy says anything, I want to say this is she's tried to like make herself sound smart by reading the full thing. But here's the thing, like if you're actually intelligent, you can take a very complex, long, well, not really complex, but you can take a very long sentence and dumb it down so it makes sense. Unwarranted search and seizures. That's all that video really needed to be, was unwarranted search and seizures. Okay. And then just like basically unwarranted search and seizures. They need like police need probable cause. The government needs probable cause to invade your personal space and seize your property and whatnot, or a warrant signed by a judge. That's what you could probably have said, and most people would understand it. But no, she wanted to show how smart she was by reading the whole Fourth Amendment. And like I think anyone would have accepted unwarranted search and seizures. I think anyone who understands the Fourth Amendment would accept that. So
It means that the government can't search you or take your things without a warrant issued by a judge and secured by evidence.
That is a little...
It's also actually not correct, because you could they just need to have probable cause to also search your shit.
Selectively edited, shall we say. How about we watch the whole thing unedited?
So we wanted to talk about the e-girls today, didn't we? The right-wing e-girls and this phenomenon of like
paradox.
Yeah, the paradox of having a girl in a bikini selling coffee or beer or being on a calendar.
Lily just did that. Are you making fun of Lily now?
No, but Lily didn't like pre-plan this either, right? She didn't like plot to have a career based off of this. She had a viral moment because she said something edgy and she's beautiful. And so the next thing is a right-wing company is going to approach and be like, would you like the sponsorship so you can sell our beer? Or,
we like conservative
coffee,
right beer.
right?
Yeah, and I like women in bikinis. I mean,
I have no problem with that.
I think that that's fine. But what we shouldn't do is take those women, and I got into some trouble at the beginning of the year with a certain person who was baking a cake about this too, right? We shouldn't take those women, push them to the front, and make them like the political mouthpieces for the right wing. Because if you were to be like, hey, what's the Fourth Amendment? They're going to be like, I don't.
Yeah, but I want to combat this. I hate that because they always accuse me of that. You bring up Josie. Like, Josie's not the main representative.
She was baking a pie.
I know.
So Rachel says, Josie, I wasn't talking about you. Alex thought I was, but I was talking about another infamous incident near the beginning of the year. Relax. Which is true, Josie. At no point does Rachel mention you. Josie replies, Rachel Isabella wasn't in the calendar that you referenced. I was. So was Riley Gaines and Ashley Sinclair and Dana Lash and other beautiful, intelligent, incredible women. At no point did you differentiate which women, e-girls, plural, were intelligent and who was a bimbo. With Rachel firing back, what are you mad about anyway? Are you mad that I didn't say you are the smartest lady on the whole internet? What did you want from me? What can I do for you? Tell me how I can make you happy, queen. It's a bit snarky, but Rachel is totally in the right here, so I will let that one slide. Josie, I just want to know, what is driving this passive-aggressive, mean girl attitude you have towards women who have more influence than you, princess? And this is where I side wholeheartedly now with Rachel, because now it turns into a follow account dick measuring contest with this idiot over here doing the measuring. And much like Rachel, I too am wondering, what part of Rachel wasn't freaking talking about her?
The Dave Mack is simp is the problem here.
Do you people not understand? Because I'm reading, watching the clip, asking myself the same question. How the hell did we get here? Josie, at no point does Rachel mention you. Alex did. She doesn't even mention your calendar. She mentions a calendar. She mentions the baking of a cake. No one on your calendar was baking a cake, my dear. And also that you got into trouble for it earlier on in the year. If that was you, you could have chastised Rachel for bringing that all up again, which you did not do, which leads me to conclude, you know she wasn't talking about you, and given all of the above, she doesn't need to differentiate which women e-girls were intelligent and who was a bimbo, because the cast you're referencing on this thread is not mentioned by her either. Which begs the question, why the hell did you respond to this at all? Why did you not simply say to the people messaging you, I am not mentioned here? Then you post this kind of crap, and you have the audacity to try and take the high ground saying, I would not lower myself to a debate, when you were the one conjuring up the drama at a woman that never even mentioned nor engaged you at all. Given your bratty, nonsensical behavior then, it appears you're trying to start drama for no reason other than engagement, which ultimately proves Rachel's point that women shouldn't be involved in politics. But hey, what do I know? I just have a massively unfair advantage. I have a penis, which bestows upon me the magical power of logic. Again,
I love this guy. Oh, I love this guy. This guy's hilarious.
Every time, regardless of political affiliation, women simply do not understand the concept of function because they're not wired for it. That's what men are for. And even then, only a select class of men, because if the comments on that thread are anything to go by, man, the simpery is pathetic. But let me just point something out here, because the cake lady, Isabella, I did make a video on that whole thing, and I defended her, primarily because I was hungry and I wanted the cake. I still remember watching it.
Yeah. I'm sure it was the cake you were looking at.
Thinking, my word, the amount of butter in this, that thing must be unholy levels of rich. I'd have watched that video even if she was wearing an apron, by the way. Hell, if I watch men cooking, which I do, I don't see why I wouldn't watch a...
But here's the thing. If she wore an apron, okay, if you guys don't remember the video, I'm not going to look it up, but it was just her. It was like from her neck down, I think, or maybe like basically the cake and her chest, okay, and she's gifted in the chest area, were prominently shown in the cake. So it was proof it wasn't really about the cake. It was, look at my tits. Okay. That's what it really was. And I don't know what this guy, what the guy said for his defense. If we want to defend her, that's fine. But like the difference was if she was wearing an apron and then baking a cake, all right, cool. That's one thing. But she was wearing a low cut top. You can see her cleavage. All right. It was about her tits. Let me show you her tits type shit.
Woman bacon for the same reason. The reason I defended that is because the reaction to that whole fiasco provoked within me the inner libertarian that lurks within us all. Well, at least those of us in the Western Hemisphere who still happen to be sane. All of us are libertarians when it comes to any activity we know we can self-regulate. As such, we get massively irritated when things get abused or blamed for ill consequences because this invites state intervention, which libertarians naturally abhor. So, for example, sugar gets blamed for diabetes and obesity, and so you will see the introduction of, say, a sugar tax, for example. Alcoholism is a problem, and so the price of alcohol becomes insane, and so I, the six-pack having whiskey drink over here, must suffer the consequence, all because of the behavior of a bunch of fat-ass diabetic alcoholics. Needless to say, there is a reason why I buy all of my whiskey from Estonia. The same thing with Isabella, who baked the cake. There is an oversaturation of sexual degeneracy in our society to the point where the girl can't even have a chest and bake a damn cake without the comment section being full of drool.
I disagree with him here. It wasn't the fact that she was baking a cake and had a chest. That's one thing. It was because it was obvious that the cake and her chest were in the full view. All right. It wasn't focused on the cake. If it was actually focused on the cake, it'd be a POV shot of the cake. That's the thing though. Is if it was really about the cake, it wouldn't be a front shot. Let me make sure my chest is in view with a low cut top. I'm pretty sure it was a low cut top if I'm remembering correctly. Or anything like that. That's why it was deemed more sexual in nature. I think it was a low cut top. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see. I like how it's like just focused on the cake part and not the person's name that I'm trying to reference. If I... Okay. Okay, maybe it's because it wasn't. Because there are like two broads named Isabella. Okay, it was Isabella. It wasn't my bad. It wasn't Isabella Moody. It was Isabella DeLuca. My bad. Okay, my bad. It wasn't a low cut top. My bad. My bad. I am incorrect. All right. But her chest, you know, she's wearing a tight shirt, so her chest is out there. I just remember her chest was very obvious. All right. So here's the video. Okay, so here it is. All right. It was more focused. The video was more focused on her than it was on the cake. That's why people had an issue with it. She has a giant rack. All right. You know, hey, props to you. I don't give two shits that you have a rack. But it clearly wasn't about the cake, which is what the problem is. It wasn't about the cake because the cake's barely in the shot. What's in her shot is, oh, I'm very pretty. Look at my chest type shit. I don't want to listen to it. We're just going to. Like she gets a few POV shots of the cake baking stuff, but it wasn't really about cake, and that's what people had a problem with. Is the fact, you know, if she was wearing an apron, probably a different story. If she was you know, just did a POV shot of baking a cake, probably would be more about the cake, but it wasn't. It was, you know, her massive hoders. That's what people took it. That's why it was considered sex, because it wasn't really about the cake, because the cake was barely in view. Okay. That's what it was.
That is ultimately the problem. It's not her, it's the reaction to her. If the men were all simply acknowledging her beauty without being classless about it, I can't imagine anyone would actually care, all things considered. But I will get to more of this in a bit. Let's see what Rachel has to say in this clip.
My point early on about the paradox of like the trad personalities, these women who are like, women should be mothers and at home, and check out my company for which I'm a millionaire with 1 million followers. I'm unmarried and I live in, you know, like there's a lot of, it's paradoxical.
It is.
I don't care. I mean, like the circumstances, but it's an interesting paradox.
Yeah.
I don't know what the answer is. I don't know who's right or wrong. I know many women who advocate for traditional values, and they are single, wealthy girl bosses.
Right. So, allow me to give my take on this phenomenon, in case this isn't massively obvious by now. I'm not exactly a fan of the Western woman, and some perspectives tend rather heretical. Labor. Here we are bigger, we are stronger, faster, and smarter. We are colder, more logical, less emotional, more stress resistant. We are designed to create civilization with our heads and our hands. Women are designed to facilitate this through their birth canal. And that's just how our species function, right? Women live in societies created by men, and they exist only with the liberties and opinions the men around them allow them to have. If you put a female in any society and you tell them, this is what you will do, these are your expected duties, and there's a mechanism in place by which they will face ostracization from the tribe for failing to adhere to them, they will perform as expected because women are natural followers. The girl boss phenomenon is an inversion of the natural state. Perversion, courtesy of modernity, designed to turn women into
oh no, that's okay. Never mind.
To discount men, organs of production, or to expand the pool of taxable peons to enrich the coffers of the state.
Yeah, and I think this is how we end up with a conservative right wing, which, by the way, because of this, I don't call myself conservative or traditional, because nobody knows what tradition, and we haven't conserved jack crap. So I say I'm a Christian patriarchist, which is something of a redundancy, but it lets you know what my beliefs are. I think we end up with a right-wing Republican Party where all of the famous people are Caitlyn Jenner, Lauren Boebert, it's like Marjorie Taylor Greene, it's Rick Grinnell. It's so we end up with women and gays and all these people that you wouldn't think would be pushing traditional American conservative values, because we're like, well, we have to appeal to everyone. We have to have a big tent, and everybody likes pretty girls, and this gay guy is really cool, so we're gonna so it's like how are we different from the left? It's a uniparty now. How are we different from the Democrat Party? We're just like the same social liberals, but with like a little bit less taxes, or we love corporations more.
She just indirectly summed up why democracy sucks ass, by the way. Well done, but I will let it cook for a bit more.
My issue with like only men voting is that half of guys are dumb as a box of rocks. And so, George Carlin famously said, think about how stupid the average person is. Now realize half of them are stupider than that. with greater male variability. You familiar with?
Yes.
You guys are familiar with greater male variability? Guys tend to vary more across the board on every subject relative to women. Women tend to be stable, men tend to vary. So there's more weak men, there's more strong men, women are average. There's more stupid guys, there's more smart guys, women have a tighter bell curve. So imagine this. Most women, so we're talking half the country, and let's say, 65, 70% of them are of average intelligence. And then you have men where half are above average and half are below average. And then without universal voting.
Okay, I think this is kind of deviated from the point I wanted to have on here with the, with Yosi and Rachel Wilson. And I'm sweating my ass off, so I'm kind of tired of being down here in my office. So anyways, so yeah, there we go. There's the full clip. There's a good explanation on it, and that guy's hilarious. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the video. I hope you guys like it. I should be on time tomorrow. We'll see. Fuck it, because I can't do this at this time because it's fucking hot as hell in my basement. Yeah. So, anyways, give it a like, give it a subscription, give it a follow. Hope you have a good day. Peace out, and see you later.